otherwise. And we do have some special guests. We got John from the 616 Comics. How you doing, John?
Hey, how are you, Wes? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I'm glad to have you, dude. So how's everything going at comic books? I know you've got mostly an online retail store. Is anything
Yeah.
hot right now?
DC is red hot, although it is cooling down a little bit. A lot of people like to talk about how long's the absolute train going to run for. I have other retailers ask me all the time. Sometimes customers will email in and ask me, and I don't really know. It has slowed down a bit. There's really a prevalence of a lot of, I guess, retailers. I'm going to put that in air quotes. Retailers, resellers jumping in. And producing, absolute Batman this, absolute Batman that. So there's like a lot of people producing books now that couldn't produce books before. And I always tell customers and I always tell my partners, these people will come and go. You know what I mean? They'll jump in, they'll try to make a quick buck. Just be careful. The thing that I always tell customers is be careful who you're dealing with online. A lot of online retailers, I don't want to say a lot, that's not fair, but a decent number of them probably won't be around soon. Even some of the big ones, go, tits up and sideways. And I've said this before because a lot of people in the comic book space, and I'm sure you guys know this, especially Aaron. I'm a business person that loves comics, and usually that's reversed. So there's nerds that sling comics for a living, or they get into that and they don't really understand the numbers side of it, so they end up with big invoices. They don't understand I guess inflows and outflows of money. So my point is, be careful who you're dealing with, because as happened to me in the past. Before I became a retailer, I made some pretty big online purchases from some stores that you guys would know, and orders were never fulfilled, emails never answered, and I was just out. Like I'm talking like four digit out, like over $1,000 out sometimes. So that's a long way of saying that I think the absolute stuff is still pretty hot. I don't know how long they're going to sustain it after issue 20. We're going to talk about issue 20 of Absolute Batman coming up with Robin and or Robins. So how many characters down the line can you get to before everybody's still excited? I mean, when you introduce a C or D list character in the Absolute universe, is anyone going to give a fuck? Who knows?
Who knows? Did you get to check out this week's G.I. Joe, Real American Hero?
Not yet, no.
Oh, dude,
I haven't.
That was
I haven't
the
read
book.
it yet, though. Yeah,
it was so good, right, Dylan?
Yeah, that was it. That was great.
Man, like, this is actually a pretty decent new comic book week, but that book blew me away. I was shocked at how good it was.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
I'm waiting to see how they incorporate Mask into that universe. That's going to be pretty interesting. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, that would be in the mainline Energon stuff, which obviously from Williamson, and we got Transformers this week. But yeah, it's nice having a few hot things. So you've got the Absolute stuff and you got the Energon stuff, which I feels like is lifting the entire industry right now.
And indie stuff, thank God, with Dork and White Sky and, Nectar. I have a lot of Nectar variants coming out next week for the second print, like a lot. I did 14 exclusives for the second print. It was a 5-day turnaround on the art, so it was extremely difficult to get all the artists, corralled and get art in and completed that fast. But we were able to do it. I went aggressive on it because I figured, maybe a lot of retailers with that tight of a deadline wouldn't be able to get art in that fast. But my artist friends and partners are just absolutely amazing. So I was able to get a bunch out there.
Very cool.
You had this really, really awesome Baroness variant cover, like the We Want You one, I think. I mean, just it like blew me away, man. I'm a huge Baroness fan, and I'm like, I'm gonna get that. I have to.
It's so awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
Cedric Poulard. He's out of France. Phenomenal artist. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, if you like the Baroness covers, go to the 616. They got like a Baroness cover a month, it seems like.
There's another one next week by Flops. I don't know if you guys know who Flops is. Flops with an exclamation point. He's out of the UK. Absolutely amazing aesthetic. He has like the 70s, late 70s kind of vibe to his art. It's kind of washed and it's incredible. I'll be putting that up. But if you look at our Instagram, it's the.616 comics. You'll see he did an Exquisite Corpses 10 Forest, that we just sold like lightning. I couldn't believe how fast, excuse me, it was selling. But Flops is an incredible artist. So next Thursday, I think, next Thursday is going to be a G.I. Joe. It's a classic Baroness, the red and the black, by Flops, and there will be a really nice glossy foil. Image foils changed up a lot in the last couple months. They were matte foils, and they weren't that like shiny or anything. But now they're just gorgeous, really, really pretty.
Feels like a matte finish would kind of go against the idea of a foil cover.
Yeah, when I got them in at first, I was like, "What the fuck is this? Is this a foil?" Like, and yeah, I mean, it is
shiny.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much of a difference. If you do a cover A, cover B, and they're the same cover, and you foil one, you don't foil the other, it's hard to tell the difference. Yeah, but they did change that up. They went to, excuse me, a new printer, and costs on Image exclusives have skyrocketed. I love working with Image. I probably order more exclusives from them than anybody, and their costs have dramatically gone up. So I've had to increase costs a little bit on the retail side. And I really, really don't like doing that. But again, this is a business. And, I always caution other retailers that really keep their books very low. I always say, hey, I know what your costs are. Be careful. There's not enough margin here for you to sustain a business. And, I'm in the business of creating variant comic book covers. So I want to make sure I'm able to do that going forward. And we talked about this before. Some of it is some of it is that's largely unseen. I'm able to pay artists a lot of money every month. I put out a lot of money for art. So some people complain about variants, and I'm always like, I'm employing artists, period. Why don't you look at it that way? That's another way to look at it. I'm employing creators. I'm printing tens of thousands of books a month for publishers and customers, and that's ultimately good for the industry, in my opinion.
Absolutely. So Dylan, you were at ECCC last weekend, right?
Yep.
So what happened after Saturday? Obviously we did the Aficionados. You went back for a couple more visits, right?
Yeah, I went back. I was there every day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was
very cool. What did we miss out on? What happened? Did you go to a panel or anything?
I went to the Claremont panel I talked about, and then I went to the What's Next DC panel where Jeff Loeb essentially had to talk about why Hush 2 was delayed for so long, where he was trying his hardest not to completely throw Jim Lee under the bus, but did explain that it was all Jim Lee's fault. He's like, we set up this story beautifully to set up Matt Fraction's run. That run started 7 issues ago. He's like, and we won't be done till 2 years from now. And he's like, when me and Jim were talking about doing this, like, Jim, can you do it? When are you gonna find time? He's like, oh, I'll do it on the weekends. And he's like, well, but you guys don't know is Jim has 9 kids, and every weekend is a graduation, a wedding, or something else. And he also talked about how Jim Lee spent 3 days redrawing like a Milkbone box for the Superman movie. And that was also something that took up time, and he was constantly doing stuff for that. And he was just explaining why the book was delayed for so long.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was fun. It was hilarious listening to it. But he's talking about how the next issue will end, and then he says all 6 issues will be out in 2027 for the second part of it. That's what he claims.
I don't believe that unless they get a new artist.
That's what he says. And then that was where they announced the Wonder Woman Batman book that he's doing, and people got very mad because he talked about how he's like, if you think I don't know how to write Wonder Woman, you're right. That's why I have this guy, which is like a dude that helped write the first Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, like, that's right.
That's that I ask questions.
Heinberg is helping him out.
Yeah, people got very mad about that. Like, why do they let this guy write Wonder Woman?
Here, none of you are bitching about Ultimates anymore and Ultimatum.
Tom King gets to write Wonder Woman, and he can't write anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, but he's got Jim Chung on that Wonder Woman book. It'll look good.
That was also a very funny part because he's talking about Jim Chung and Jim Lee, and he kept going between them. He's like, I'm talking about Jim Lee now, and then he would like go back and forth, and it was very confusing. But he was the best part of the panel because it was him, it was Kyle Starks, Jason Aaron, Dennis Cowan, and so it was
G. Will Wilson, I think, was there too.
Yeah,
right?
G. Will Wilson was there. That was But he was the best part because there was part where they had the Batman group editor that was hosting it. He was the moderator, and he asked them like how do you write superhero comics in today's day and age with everything that's going on in the world, how harsh everything is. And Jeff Loeb gave the best answer where he was like, comics are escapism. I try to give people escapism. Like he gave like a really long, basically speech and thanking everyone for being able to write comics to this day and how much he loves it. I was like, it was very sweet what Jeff Loeb said.
And you had already met him the day before, right?
Yeah, I met him. The guy houses peanut M&Ms.
Yeah, you just got like a bucket.
He had the giant family-sized bag, and he was just housing them.
They take the blue ones out like Van Halen, and in the contract.
So the G. Willow Wilson part of the panel wasn't the most exciting?
No, because it's just like, Poison Ivy is gonna be mayor. That was basically her big thing. That was it.
That already happened. I didn't even see anybody write an article about it. And it happened last week or 2 weeks ago.
But I was looking ahead the other day at the Matt Fraction run. I saw like 2 issues from now. It's like got Ivy as mayor on the cover. I was like, so it's like it's affecting all the Batman.
And Vandal Savage is still the commissioner of the GCPD?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
Yeah, and Lex Luthor's going to be president again, and it's just everybody.
4 more years. Yeah.
The Legion of Doom is Congress. It's.
So it sounds like you had a good time at ECCC.
Yeah, I did. It was fun.
Did you decided to invite your lady friend into your geek world?
Yeah, she went last year. Last year was her first time going, and she came back just on Sunday though. I bring her on the final day.
Yeah, that's what I did with my wife and kids. Like they can't handle more than one day of this.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there digging through back issues, and she's just like walking around looking for free stuff. That's how it goes.
Did you find any more Jonah Hex?
No, that had hardly any Jonah Hex. I got like 3 issues of Jonah Hex because there was like nothing there, sadly.
So you're under like 12 issues to find before you have a complete run?
Something like that, yeah. I'm getting pretty close.
Dude, that's like a big achievement.
Yeah, I'm happy about it. I'm excited to finally get it done.
What character are you going to go to next?
I might try to get all Vigilante. That might be the goal.
Oh, yeah, he's nice and obscure. He's not going to be expensive.
Yeah.
You don't want to be going to try to get a complete run of Superman.
No, that's
You're going to be a billionaire a few times over.
Yeah, that's not doable for me.
Dylan,
and then you finally got to see HH on Sunday, right?
Yes, I saw HH on Sunday. He was great to talk to as always. He gave me the trade that him and Mike Barron did. Then he a little bit racially profiled my girlfriend because he gave her the manga instantly. Because she's Chinese, so he's like, "Oh, you like the manga, right?" It was very nice of him, and she was very happy because again, her whole goal is to get free stuff there. So, HA was great.
Does he look like he's been working out?
Yes, he looks jacked.
Absolutely.
He also, as always, sold a ton of comics. He's telling me how because he had 2 booths. He had the big one on the main exhibitor floor downstairs, and he had like in Artist Alley. He had a smaller one with manga. And he said he completely sold out upstairs, and then downstairs he had hardly anything left. Like he had sold out almost completely.
Yeah, I was talking to him a couple of years ago, and he doesn't measure his sales in units sold. He measures it in tonnage.
I can see why.
So, yeah, I guess he's just goes on the concert and like wipes everybody out. Well, very cool. Sounds like Emerald City was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
You going to MegaCon?
No, that's all the way across the country.
Yeah, but you're from Florida. It's like going back home.
Yeah, but it costs money. I just spent a bunch of money at Emerald City Comic Con.
Yeah, cons are expensive. Yeah, how much did a 4-day pass cost for that tea?
100 something. I think I can't remember how much exactly. Like a little over 100.
That's not bad.
Where they get you is with the refillable big ass cup that Aaron Sparrow always gets for like $18.
I don't always get it. I have one.
Yeah, you get it once and then you can fill it. But no, they're not. Sadly, they're not at Emerald City Comic Con. That would be nice because I got that at Dallas. So that would have been nice.
I'll loan you mine. I'll bring mine to shows, Dylan, and loan it to you because I don't drink soda anymore. So it's like I don't have any use for it except for here at home.
You going on a keto diet or something, Sparrow?
No, I just haven't drank soda in years now. I just don't, don't want all that sugar.
Oh, well, there you go. Tommy, you're going to be at MegaCon now.
I am. I'm pretty excited about it too. I've never been.
Man, so you and Sparrow will be at MegaCon.
And Drew.
Who else is going to be there?
NHH
will probably be there. He's everywhere. That guy lives in a car with comic books, I think.
And Andy Andrew and the chat will be there, and Von Coleman will be there, and all of your indie darlings will all be there and having a good time.
Oh, cool.
Oh man, I wish I was there. I'd take you all out to Chuck E. Cheese or Arby's or something. Do something good, What do you got planned for MegaCon, Tommy? You going to go to any of the panels? You seen any of the big guests there besides Sparrow?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I got to start with Sparrow and Drew. But after that, yeah, I mean, there's some pretty awesome creators and artists that are going to be there. So I'm pretty excited. I'm actually going through comics, pulling out things I want signed, and and a lot of them I've had on the podcast. So I'm looking forward to solidify second and third visits to the podcast. And
nice.
I'm going with my buddy Ty. He goes by the Spawn Hunter on Instagram and all that good stuff. And we got a room together. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. And then we're going to Universal, I think Friday night, which I've never been to Orlando Universal. So that'd be kind of cool. It'll be fun, man.
So you're bringing the old lady?
No.
You're going by yourself?
Going by myself.
Oh, wow.
I was just in Orlando and I took her to Disney World. She's a very big Mickey Mouse fan. So it's really hard to get her to a Comic-Con. She's not, it doesn't excite her at all, other than going through bins looking for old Mickey Mouse comics. We do have quite a bit of the old Mickey Mouse comics. So that's her thing. And yeah, I bring her along. And if she finds those, she's happy. If she doesn't, she's bored out of her mind. And just like Dylan's girlfriend, she just, if there's free stuff, she'll go around and grab that. But outside of that, she's just looking at me going, how do you do this all day, man?
Yeah. Do you have that same thing going on, John? I know you just got married as well.
I don't go to cons because I have 7 kids. So
yeah,
that makes it hard.
A little bit. Right. Yeah. Cause there a lot of people would want to go. We will be in Florida, but we'll be in the Keys. So we actually had a family vacation plan before that. It's going to cost me $38 million, but that's where we're going.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I would love to go to MegaCon. There's so many awesome people that are going to be there that I would love to meet. I'm friends with a lot of people online, but I'm kind of holed up in my shop and with my family. So unfortunately, I don't get to interact with a lot of. I live kind of it's weird. I live a solitary life as a retailer because I'm just. I took a picture the other night when I was leaving the shop. It was 12:37 a.m. and I had been there since like 7 something in the morning. And a lot of people don't understand how much work goes into retail if you do it right, and you really give a shit about your customers and your employees and what you're doing. It's a lot of effort. I mean, if you text me at quarter to midnight, I'm probably still working.
Yeah, whenever I start talking about comic books, my wife's eyes glaze over. I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to kill you here.
Yes.
She is.
I love my wife, but yeah, I wish I could get a little more traction with that for sure. Although oddly enough, I got my 7-year-old boy into WWE, so he took to it like a fish to water. So he's buying all the the John Cena pillows and he's body slamming him on the couch. He's like, "Come on, Dad, let's wrestle." And I'll be 53 this year, so my joints ain't what they used to be. So I'm like, "Son, you got to give the old man a break here." But weirdly enough, my wife is watching WWE. I'm imagining it's because there's men in underwear running around that have muscles and are sweaty. I mean, maybe that's something to do with that. But
Sully, does your girl get into comic books, or are you not able to talk about it either?
No, but I've actually got her committed to cosplay with me. I'll be like, I'm gonna dress you up as Princess Leia.
Are you gonna do Raggedy Ann and
wow?
Andy?
No, I'm gonna, dude. Wow. Okay, listen. I'm gonna do like what Kiss did and paint my face and head silver, and then I'm gonna go as Destro, and I'm dressing her up as Baroness, and it's gonna be the ultimate, him and her cosplay. I got someone to him and her cosplay with. I'm gonna dress her up as Princess Leia with the buns in her hair, and I'm just gonna go as Han Solo. It's gonna be so fun. We're gonna do it.
If you're gonna be Destro, you're gonna have to shave your beard. Do you really want to subject yourself to that?
Yeah, and I'll do the voice and everything. Cobra Commander. Something like that. It's gonna be fun.
I couldn't shave off the beard at this point. I'd freak my kids out.
Down and just like, hey, it's actually getting silver, so it's going to blend in really, really nicely.
You're going as Destro? Baroness.
I would love to go as Destro. It would be stitch perfect. I'm going to do it. Yeah.
What do you got up there in Boston? You got what's the one in Connecticut?
Fan Expo. We've got Wicked Boston Comic Con, which is a small con, but it's free but it's comics only. And this year Ben Templesmith's going to be there, so I'm going to catch up with him. We had dinner with him with Purge in Dallas, so I'll make a better acquaintance with Ben. There is ConnectiCon in Connecticut, but that is the same weekend as Fan Expo Boston, so I don't see myself going to that. There's also Rhode Island Comic Con, which is always the first week of November. But I was just asking Dylan, like, how much did it cost? That one is so expensive to get in, and I'm like, come on, let's have no illusions. Going to a con it's still the glorified flea market. You're getting into what? Spend more money inside. These things admission should not be so expensive to enter the event itself. And I know it's about
but you get to meet the cast of The Flash from the 1990s.
Hey, I already got my picture bought with all 4 Hobbits, with Elijah Wood, with
exactly. That's how they get you.
Dominic. I'm looking forward to meeting Dominic. I'm like, because I'm a big Lost fan. I'm gonna write Not Penny's boat on my hand in Sharpie and stand next to him in my Hobbit picture and throw in a Lost reference. I already got it planned.
Yeah. So Dylan, somebody asked how many retailers were at ECCC.
A decent amount is actually a decent amount there, but it is very much a pop culture con. Comics aren't the focus of the convention.
Like, who's the big movie star?
They had Hayden Christensen was there for one day. They had some of the Guardians of the Galaxy cast there. I didn't really pay attention to the celebrities. I can't remember
Chris
who.
Pratt?
Not Chris Pratt, no. But they had like
Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker was there. They had Palm. I can't remember
Sparrow
her last name. Oh.
Sparrow got a noogie from Michael Rooker, right?
Yeah, I got put in a headlock.
That's pretty cool.
And he called you a little shit.
No, he called me a little effer, is what he said. He said, "You put me in a headlock," and he did one of those, and then was like, "I love this little effer" to one of the two girls that he brought. And I'm not a small guy, but Rooker is bigger than you expect him to be.
What did you do to make him like you so much?
I don't know. I made him laugh. Like, we'd known each other like 2 minutes.
Uh-huh.
But I cracked him up, and then we were buddies.
And you also got Cobra clutched by fucking Sergeant Slaughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been attacked by numerous celebrities you may know.
There's a weird pattern going on there, Aaron. What's going on?
A weird what?
Pattern.
Oh, well, I have a gift.
Because you'd only known Sergeant Slaughter for like 2 minutes before he tried to put you out.
Well, no, I'd known Sergeant Slaughter for longer because we had that whole ride to Bell County Comic Con together on the shuttle from the hotel.
With the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah, so I got him and Honky Tonk Man talking about their the old days and there's some great stories from those two. Like, if you ever get to like the chance to like just sit at the learning tree of professional wrestlers, they've got some great stories. And Sarge is great. I mean, obviously he's got 2 different fandoms. He's got his wrestling fandom, and then he's got his G.I. Joe fandom, and occasionally they cross over. But yeah, he so he's drawing revenue from 2 sources when he shows up at shows, and he's always like really gracious and good guy to talk to. You get a chance to meet Sergeant Slaughter, I recommend.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who was the best meet then? Since you're meeting all these people behind the scenes, you're also in Hollywood, so you're probably meeting movie stars at Arby's and shit, right?
The movie stars are hanging out at the Arby's, Wes. That's how.
Well, everybody's going to get a big Montana, homie.
It's probably been a long time since they acted if they're at Arby's.
Is that Elijah Wood getting some curlies?
By the way, with the last couple of weeks where the McDonald's CEO has been absolutely clowned for the weak little baby nibble that he took of his burger, like the burger product And then everybody started clowning him. The Burger King guys out there taking a big bite, and I'm sure Jack in the Box had some response. You just know the president Arby's is terrified that the gaze is going to turn to him, and he's going to be forced to eat something from Arby's on camera.
Oh, come on! Why do we? What's with? I still don't get the hate. I love Arby's. I miss.
Well,
it.
I got to carry the torch for Perch till he comes back. He's out there in the world, weaving the tapestry that is his life, and we gotta pour one out for Perch every now and then insult Arby's. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to MegaCon. It should be a great show. Looking forward to hanging out with Tommy, hanging out with Drew, seeing all my artist friends, and I've we've got got something special for the channel members here.
Nice.
This was sent out to, if you're a Kneel Before Doomface backer, this was sent out to you, but I'm going to go ahead and paste it in the chat as well. If you want to pick up the Kneel Before Doomface special preview edition for the con, which has an homage to X-Men 274 as its cover. This is the last preview we're doing because the #1 book is at the printer. We've got a rough delivery date from them, so should start shipping that out. But I just pasted the code, or at least I'm trying to. There we go. I just pasted the code. It's a discount code for the Comic Mint. Go over there and grab that cover.
Very nice, Sparrow. If I show up to MegaCon with the 50, what does that get me? Does that give me a comic book and maybe a signature? Or does that give me a comic book and a handshake?
I mean, I try to avoid handshakes at cons just because it's cons and the con crud runs rampant. So I'm happy to sign anything that people bring, whether it's mine or not.
I get fist bumps and air hugs. Here you go.
So you'll sign an Iceman Omega?
Yeah, I'll sign an Iceman Omega. I'll write you a nice little quote on there, my opinion of Iceman Omega, and then sign it. Happy to do that.
Oh, man. Sounds like it's going to be a good time.
I'll give you something inspirational, like, inside of you there are two wolves. Both are gay.
John, we needed to get something like the 616 in Thinking Critical at some con sometime soon.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I was just actually talking to my wife about that. So we're kind of in the process of, some people are confused. They're like, are you in New York? Are you in New Jersey? Both right now. So I'm kind of splitting time between a home we have up near Ithaca, New York, and then near Philly in South Jersey. So that should be resolved by the end of the year. We started another business outside of comics. So once that kind of settles into the summer, I would love to go to San Diego. I think that's a little too much, but there's a chance me and Jenna, my wife, might be at New York in October. I would love that. But just to meet with like publishers and artists and creatives like you guys, I don't want to set up a table. I don't want to get into all that, shipping books there and getting my staff in there. I mean, it's just, I always said, it's a lot of juice, or it's a lot of squeeze for the juice that you get. If you're a retailer and you go to a con, the table prices are outrageous to get a booth. It's just not worth it for me. We could just go live on Whatnot for a couple hours and make as much as we would do on a whole weekend of, and then I basically have to shut operations at the shop down. We have about, there's 12 people that work for me total with me. I'd rather say it that way. 12 people that work with me. And then I got to shut everything down, ship everybody to the con, It's just a lot. So everyone, a lot of customers are always like, John, are we going to meet you at a con? We're going to meet your live crew at the con. I'm like, nah, if I go, you'll just see me and Jenna walking around and meeting with some publishers and other people we want to see. And that'll probably be it. And then me and Jenna will go party somewhere else for the night.
Speaking of Whatnot, if you go down to the video description, there is a link to the 616 Whatnot eBay and their website. So definitely go check that one out. So, Tommy, you're the big UFC fan, right?
I do enjoy UFC, yeah.
We got UFC Freedom 250.
Yep.
The card was announced, and it feels like Dana set it up to where all the Americans are going to get their asses beat, except for O'Malley.
Yeah, it's not a lot of – I personally don't think it's that great of a card. I mean, they were talking 7 title fights at the beginning. It was going to be huge, and I to be honest, because fans are not going to be at the actual fight, they're going to be across the street at the park watching it on a giant screen. They're expecting like 80,000 people there. A lot of fighters don't want to just sit and fight in front of a bunch of Congress people and stuff like that. So I don't think there's a whole lot of fighters that even want to be on that card. So
John Jones wanted to be on it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fighters said, I don't want to go sit there and like Usman. There's a bunch of them that come out and said, I'm not fighting in front of a bunch of Congress people. It's going to be boring. Most of them don't even watch UFC. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll watch it from the comfort of my couch. And now that it's on Paramount, I'm saving a bunch of money. So I'll watch it.
I'd pay to see them fight Congress people.
Yeah, exactly. They should. That would be pretty. They could charge for that, and I think they would do very well.
That'd be the biggest card ever. It's like
ever. Yeah.
I gotta see this.
They kind of set up Gaethje to get his ass smoked in the main event.
Dude, that is a crazy fight, man. I would not want to go against Elia, man. That guy has got a right hook that is insane, and he's dropping if he drops Gaethje, and the run that he's had over the last 2 years of Max Holloway, he's going to go down as one of the greats of the last, couple of years for sure.
Yeah. And Dylan, you and I had already talked about it a little bit, but you also were basically unimpressed.
Yeah, it's not like Tommy was saying. They were talking about 7 title fights. They're talking about how this card is going to blow your socks off. It's going to be incredible. And then they revealed it. It's like, if it just for a standard pay-per-view would be okay. For this being at the White House, 250, the Freedom card, and it's just these are the fights we get. It's annoying.
That'd be kind of cool to have like the White House and shit in the background, though. It'd be neat.
It is. It's gonna be cool.
Hopefully, assuming they do it well, because I said on Hot or Not, like that we were promised something like this with Fight Island. The way they hyped up Fight Island, it was just like a normal arena in Abu Dhabi, and that was it. They were talking about how Fight Island, how cool it was going to be and everything. We were like, oh man, it's going to be sick. It's going to be out there. And it was just like in a normal arena, and there was nothing special about it. You couldn't tell the difference between that and it was like in middle America.
So Sully, somebody said Victor Gabriel said, what do you think of Skybound Transformers issue 30? I read it. I believe you read it, correct?
I did. Yes, I own it. I bought it. I paid the full price.
And then probably Tommy read it as well.
I haven't read it, but I read it. I mean, I got it though.
I was not happy at the end of that issue at all. I was actually kind of mad.
Was it all the girl boss shit?
Yeah, it was removing leadership from fucking Optimus Prime. I was not happy.
The Jose Corona C cover.
Beautiful
artwork. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I do that once.
I'm telling you guys for like years now, Transformers was a waste of time. And look who was right.
No, I just see it's because it's unmistakable. It went girl bossy. It did because spoilers. Anyone there's some mantles passed. Not just the obvious big one, but also Ultra Magnus a few issues ago. Shared the Magnus title with RC. So now she's like what RC Magnus, is that her name now? And yeah. she's evolved like a Pokemon. So she's got she's now like the greatest knight of the Autobots, which sure. I mean, let's see where this goes. I
don't understand why you guys are saying that it's girl bossy, because they're robots and they have no gender. They just have design specifications, and I will die on that hill.
Well, that's fine. The one that's girl coded ends up taking the mantle of leadership from Optimus. And Optimus is one of the great leaders in the history of any fiction.
Yeah, and he's handed it down to Hot Rod before in the fiction. So who sucked?
He died when that happened.
Does Alita 1 suck more than Hot Rod? I don't think she does.
That's a personal question between her and Optimus, man.
Have you read the book yet, Aaron?
No, I haven't read it yet.
So you haven't seen how it happens?
No, I haven't seen how it happens.
That's the problem.
It's a really good fight scene, though. I mean, I love the pages. I love the panel. It was a good, they fought. I mean, that was just
would destroy fucking Alita.
Right, but it's kind of just like, hey, she like challenges him to the right of leadership through combat. And it's so, action movie like. I had no problems with it like that.
Thank God 32 Flavors Nick Weiser's got a little common sense. He said this crossed the line. I agree. It crossed the line. Never should have been crossed. And Kirkman has been going downhill on his Transformers run since the day he showed up. And
the art is
really good.
The hill for me to die on would be Wheelimus Prime. If you gave the Matrix to Wheelie, I'd be out.
To Cosmos?
Cosmos. That's anybody but Wheelie. It's the worst Transformer it's oh.
Dead Calm says he's dropping it. Nick says he's dropping it. Yeah. I don't think it's a good move.
Why?
Well, I mean,
just because of the girl boss stuff, or
you guys are getting race swapped Matt Tracker. Why is this surprising to you?
It's really Hondo. That's the mask.
I don't really care about masks like I do Transformers, so it doesn't bother me as much.
I do care about masks, so.
Man, it's really got you going, huh, Aaron?
It pisses me off because it's like you could have the if you
Skybound didn't do it, IDW did it.
IDW did it, and I'm sure Hasbro is pushing it, but it's just fine. You're not giving me the mask that I love, and I'm not interested in this new version. So I mean that book's gonna get canceled. It's not gonna have legs. But see, this is the problem. They alienate the core fan base of Mask by not giving them the mask that they know, so that people like me go, I don't need to get it then. When you've got an obvious answer, we've talked about it before. If Hasbro's really determined to put a black guy in the lead, you got Hondo McClane right there. Come up with a story reason that he has to step up, and fans go, "Oh, I like Hondo. He's part of the original. He's part of my Mask," and they'll be more on board with it. But instead, you don't give them what they want, so they turn away from it. You don't draw in a new audience for it, and then it dies, and then you go, "Oh, I guess people just don't want Mask." No, people don't want the skin suit of Mask that you're giving them.
Actually, Mask makes all the sense in the world in that Energon universe where you have the Joes and Cobra, the Decepticons and Autobots, and now you have something kind of in between.
And you can thank your old buddy Aaron Sparrow for that concept, who pitched it to IDW, and then wow, it ended up at IDW, but I didn't end up writing it. Funny how that works.
So you pitched it, and then it came to life without you, huh?
Mm-hmm. That happened a lot at IDW.
In fairness, it happened at Boom too, right?
Oh yeah, it happens quite a bit in the industry.
Didn't you pitch a lot of stuff up for like Toy Story and stuff, and then they would tell you can't do that, and then it ended up in the movies?
Yeah. Well, more Jesse Snyder, but stuff that we worked on together for Toy Story, and now it's like, oh look, it's the premise of the new Toy Story movie, and you're like, okay. Not that anybody else couldn't arrive at that conclusion, but it's funny how things go into the. Disney has a reputation too of if there's something that they think is an interesting idea, they'll option it. And then that option holds, and then they'll develop it separately on their own over here and let the option expire. But now that thing is in progress in their IP farm, and so nobody else can pick up that thing that they optioned and held for a while. It's some pretty snake business practice.
That's pretty crazy. Dylan, are you going to jump on board Mask? It's not exactly Transformers, and it's kind of closer to G.I. Joe.
I don't really care about Mask. I have zero connection to Mask.
The only reason you like
G.I.
Joe is comics?
Dylan, Mask, the Mask Crusaders are working overtime, fighting
crime.
Fighting crime. They're secret raiders. Anyway.
Tracker's got such supervision.
See, Matt Tracker's going to lead the mission because Spectrum's got some supervision.
That means the kid got rate swapped too, out of sheer principle, right?
Maybe he's adopted. Who knows?
Oh, maybe he's...
But you know what? Now T-Bob's going to be street.
The mailman says, wait, did time zones change again? I thought the stream was at the top of the next hour. I had the exact same problem. I had 2 recordings, one with Aaron, one with Nick, and I was late for both of them because times changed. I didn't even realize. But yes, there were time zone changes. Screw you, America, for not just go at the same time all year long. There's no reason anymore.
We should not move. Where we are now, this is it. This should be the last time change we ever do, and we should just stick to this from now on.
Yeah, I think everybody would agree with that one.
Yeah.
It's time to just stick with it. All right, Tommy, I see you got your Green Lantern hat on. We did talk about the trailer last week.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about the Lanterns trailer? Were you excited? Were you less disappointed than me?
I mean, I was probably a little less disappointed. I think by this time we're kind of used to them making major changes like that. I think it's more of just the arrogance and the way that the showrunners kind of talked about Green Lantern just is mind-boggling. That they would have such a, I don't know. The business model is weird, right? I'm in business. I'm in the grocery industry. If a new food brand comes out and says this brand is only for this amount of people, we don't care if anybody else likes it or not, that brand fails. They won't even put it on the shelf, right? Because every millimeter of shelf space in any kind of retail has a dollar amount that it needs to produce. The only place in the world that doesn't live by that motto is Hollywood. And it blows me away that they could offend fans and they could do all these things and then come out with something. And then when it fails, they blame the fans. It's the weird cycle, and they just keep getting more work. So I wasn't surprised by that. I'll watch the first episode or so and see how it goes. I'll just divorce myself of it being Green Lantern, and it's probably just going to be some kind of, police show or something like that. I hope it's good, but I don't get bothered by that stuff very much anymore, because it just happens all the time. So I go back to Blackest Night. I'll read that over again if I need my Green Lantern fix. I'll go back to Jeff Johns or Venditti or somebody else and just read those old stories.
A lot of good Green Lantern out there, dude.
Yeah,
you got Jamie Lee Curtis out there in an interview this week talking about like, well, we just don't know. Like we're just in a transition period where we just don't know what Hollywood just doesn't know what people want.
I don't know about that. I feel like they know.
Thank you, Aaron. I needed a good laugh.
Yeah, it's not like there are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels and people talking about online about the things that they don't want and the things that they do want. And but no, nobody has any idea why Hollywood is failing, why these things keep bombing.
Let's hear for the peoples.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Very good day, La Casa. Sorry about that, Aaron. That was bad timing. Marvel is so bankrupt, they want to capitalize their incapacity. Still buying masterworks. Things done 30 years ago beats their modern failure any day. That is a problem with Marvel there, John. They're just not very hot right now. I've noticed when I look at their solicits, their number of just even facsimile editions is doubling, sometimes tripling every single month, where they're just, I guess they've realized it's probably better, more profit to go back and just reproduce stuff that they already did.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can't give it away. I was talking to another artist retailer that I work with a lot, and I actually warned him because he's talking about doing a couple Marvel things, and I said, listen, my friend, I'll go in with you on that. So sometimes retailers, when you're producing retailer exclusives, when the print runs are bigger, right, like Marvel, DC, you're talking 3,000 to potentially 7,000 or 8,000 books you're producing. The price tag on that can range anywhere from $17,000 to like $30,000 just for one book, one issue, right? So a lot of times retailers will help. I have partners. I have comic traders and in Canada that I work with a lot. Comic Kingdom Creative in Canada. My friend Spencer, Sean over at Comics Elite. I've been working with Sean. Sean mentored me a long time ago. And then we help each other out by helping take the burden off of some of these massive invoices. And I told him, I said, this artist I work with who also sells books, I said, you need to be really careful because you're talking about doing a couple things in a space that you've been out of for a little bit as far as Marvel. And the last couple Marvel projects that I had did not perform as nowhere near as well as I thought they would. And one was a Tyler Kirkham Ultimate Fallout 4 homage on a brand new big spider event, Death Spiral. I took a shot on that one. And there was another one that I did, Ultimate Spider-Man 24, another Tyler Kirkham, really cool Venom cover set of 3. I thought both were phenomenal covers by Tyler Kirkham. I've been a huge Tyler Kirkham fan for years. The fact that I text him almost every day is still mind-blowing to me because I'm still just absolutely a nerd. And the fact that I'm having a hard time, breaking even on some of these things. Everyone's like, oh, you must be making money hand over fist. And I'm like, that's really funny.
Comics.
That's cute. Yeah, that's really cute that you think that. I do this because I fucking love it. Okay. So, and I'm retired from my long time police career. But I said, listen, man, you got to be careful with Marvel right now because you can't even give it away. And Marvel has undercut themselves. I'm sure we'll talk about Tom Brevoort in a minute, but they just continue to chop their own legs out from underneath of them. A lot of unforced errors. And I think they've just aggravated, Hollywood's in the same, I would put them all in the same boat, like Aaron was talking about. They just completely on purpose, totally fucking unaware on purpose, right? You have to work to not be aware of what people want in retail and in sales, because that's what That's what even content creators like you guys are in. You guys are in sales. You're selling yourself. You're selling your image. You're selling your personality, your opinion, or your product, like I do. And you have to be aware. And it's fucking easier now than ever in the history of humanity to understand your customer base, right? With social media, with polling, there's tons of feedback, most of it unsolicited, thankfully, right? And you have to work to not listen. You have to work to be ignorant now. So there's no excuse. So the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis or Tom Brevoort or anybody would be, oblivious to what the customer base wants, or in the instance of Marvel and Tom, actually flying in the face of what the customers want, to me is so mind-boggling, because if you put any other retail operation in that space, like I always use Target as an example, right? Let's just say Target started stocking their shelves with shit that nobody wanted.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What?
I'm a professional chef. Hey, I want the apathy of my guests. I want my guests to be like infuriated with the cuisine I make for them.
Because at least they're engaged.
I'm trying to sell them.
I ordered lasagna and you gave me Franks and beans. Franks and beans is better than lasagna.
You're talking about it online. Yeah, I'm leaving you a shitty Yelp review.
I'm going to give you vegan cuisine until you like it.
You're engaged.
Well,
that's the problem, is that they're like, we don't understand what people want. And it's like, well, they don't want what you're giving them, but we're determined to give that to them because that's what we believe. And it's like, that doesn't work.
As a professional chef, I got to tell you that criticism is one of my most important tools. I rely on it. You need to hear it. You need to absorb it and deal with it and roll with it and respond to it positively and try to please your guest. It's kind of simple.
Then Federico says, I never would have thought that a toy universe would beat the Marvel universe. I guess that passion and competence are things you can't fake.
Great.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, about the Energon stuff, because it's really only like 4 or 5 books at this point. They're about to expand out a little bit. But between Marvel 70 books, I don't think they have any that are really even touching just 4 or 5.
Right. And I'll go and say too that don't give up on the Transformers, everyone out there in TV land. Don't do it. It's just a story beat. He's going to put
time
the
to
toys
give up.
back.
It's over.
No, come on, don't quit. Nobody likes Twitter unless it's cigarettes. Come on. Have some fun with it. It's a beautifully drawn book. It's you got to put your heroes in peril in order to produce story.
When they beheaded Ned Stark in Game of Thrones, we had all left, we would have been better off for it because there was no recovering, Sully.
There's always songs about sticking with it and hanging in there and persevering. There aren't enough songs about giving up.
I gotta say, Ned should never have sat down on that Iron Throne, and he never should have called for Tywin to be called to King's Landing. That was his fatal mistake.
We need Jim to make us just a good song that's just like, I guess I'm gonna give up. It's just all about the virtues of just throwing in the towel. Like, save yourself the aggravation. Like, the things you love don't love you back.
Sparrow, what more comic book universes do we need based on 80s and 90s toys?
Oh man, I mean, it's tough to get away from the Transformers G.I. Joe because like everything you kind of like want to mix in there, even if it doesn't really mesh. Like I'd throw in humanoids in the mix there. I think
yes, you would.
Doing Sectors. Humanoids versus Transformers. Sectors would pair up good with Masters of the Universe and
Centurions
and Silverhawks.
I want Centurions.
Centurions would fit into the Energon universe.
Be great.
You could do that.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff that you could do and just make this giant expanded toy universe. Obviously, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, SWAT Cats, Biker Mice from Mars. Let's throw Battletoads in that universe. Let's just, some Bucky O'Hare. There's a lot that you could mix up.
Some Captain Power.
I still have my Captain Power, like the starships, but I don't have a VHS to put in to fight with.
People might not realize this, Aaron, but you literally have so many toys that you can't fit them in your house. So you have to have like a industrial size like storage place just to put your toys.
This is true. Yes.
We call it the toy box.
That's why I told people, I said, on the Kneel Before Doomface campaign, I told people, I said, there's no way that I'm going to run into the situation that a lot of crowdfunders do where they blow all the money. I was like, first of all, I'm better with money than that. Your money's going to sit there. But even if something did happen, like let's say I got hacked and my money I'll just go to my storage unit and I'll get some stuff out and I'll sell it to make sure you get your books.
Sell off some of that Star Wars merch, dude.
Oh man, the Star Wars would be the first to go. Unfortunately, the market on it is not great.
Yeah. A little down right now.
Yeah, a little. Everybody's a little down on Star Wars. They're just putting out announcements. Hasbro's like, look, you can get, Baze Malbus from Rogue One. He's finally in the vintage collection, and people are like, cool. I liked Rogue One, and then they're like $30 for a 3 3/4-inch figure, and everybody's like, go eat a dick, Hasbro. I'm paying $30 for.
Here's a bag of them.
Mm-hmm.
Molo says, Aaron, do you play with your dolls at the storage facility?
I don't have any dolls. I don't know what that means.
How offensive.
I'll tell you what though, I did know I really liked a girl once when she called me while I was at my storage unit organizing things, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm at my storage unit," and she's like, "Oh, can you FaceTime me? I want to see this like legendary storage unit." So I was like pan and scanning the camera across stuff, and then she goes, "Wait, go back. Is that Duchess Dyer from Spiral Zone?" And I'm like, how do you know Spiral Zone? And she's like, Duchess Dyer for life, baby. And I was like, oh, you're cool. I like you.
I'm shocked you're not married, Aaron. That felt like a moment.
Well, see, you gotta find somebody who appreciates the Spiral Zone.
Jag Live says, so what are your guys' each top comic this week? And give one reason why you liked it. I didn't have any new books this week.
G.I. Joe wholesale ass.
Real American Hero is by far the best this week. It was so good. It's the most jacked Snake Eyes you've ever seen, drawn by Andrew Cronkey, just with a 12 gauge going around obliterating terrorists. It's amazing.
It was absolutely phenomenal. I will second that one. What was your favorite? You're doing Emperor Aquaman?
Number 15.
Emperor
this
Aquaman was good.
Great. I really enjoyed the hell out of this. Tim's comes back for the art. This is a solid issue. It's like, okay, what's next? And I'm in. Thank you.
I like the old man Aquaman portion of his personality. He was cool.
And we got an outrageous for anyone that watches the Brave and the Bold show. We get an outrageous in this one, which is good.
Tommy, what was your top book that wasn't Aquaman or G.I. Joe?
Probably like Ordained. I'm really enjoying this from Venditti.
From Venditti, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, man. It's getting good. I just wish they came out. I think it's every other month, if I'm not mistaken. But I wish it came out every month. But I'm a big
Bad Ideas got a weird distribution. And
they got a weird. I mean, they have some really good stuff going on right now, but it's so weird how they distribute everything. But Ordained was fun. I liked it. That's good.
John, did you have a favorite book this week?
No, this was a horrendous week for me with travel, so I wasn't able to read anything, unfortunately. That kills me.
Dude, first thing on the top of your pile should be G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, Larry Hama, Andrew Kirby.
I have it. I have a lot of them.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Aaron, do you have one?
That's it.
I already said G.I. Joe.
Oh, well, you just taking people's. Where's my list? Since we've already named off a bunch of them. Oh, this one was great. Hulk Smash Everything 4 from Ryan North. So Hulk has like gone through a singularity and passed through a black hole and then reformed himself, and he's even stronger. And he returns to Earth, and they try to like quarantine him in Antarctica, and he breaks it in half. I was like, that's pretty good. And then he starts breaking more stuff. But shockingly, I'm not the world's biggest Ryan North fan. Hulk Smash Everything this week was absolutely bonkers and a ton of fun.
Usually I have this paper bag over here to put over my head when Sully gives his takes, but you just recommended a Ryan North comic, and I feel like I got to go Sylvester Jr. on this.
It's got Hulk
breaking
the shelf in half. It was really good.
I'm very proud of you, Wes. You've grown.
Also, Aaron, that Scorch alien from Hot Toys is awesome.
Yeah, oh man.
So you don't like Hot Toys because of the wrong scale, but you love the artistry and the details that you get on Hot Toys.
I absolutely do. I think the Hot Toys stuff is really nice. They've got a Kirby Silver Surfer that they just showed off that I'm like, but yeah, I don't do the 12-inch scale stuff because I don't have I would have to buy all new cabinets and then set up like 12 inch stuff to display, and I don't have the room for that.
Yeah. That's why they call you and Jesse size queens. You're strictly 6 inches.
No, I do buy some of the 3 3/4 stuff if it fits stuff that I've collected in the past. Like I'll still buy 3 3/4 GI Joe, and I'm always really tempted to pick up the Hiya Toys 3 3/4 Ninja Turtle stuff because it's just so gorgeous, and then I could put it with GI Joe. But yeah, Aaron, it's tough to change scales.
I understand. I almost fell for the 12-inch scale, the 1/6s. I got 2 of them, and they can get addictive. It's like if I had only bought that Iron Man Mark IV stealth armor one, it would have just been downhill and an addiction from there on out.
Mm-hmm.
They're so awesome.
And Hot Toys is definitely a very expensive, like little
crazy
hobby.
Expensive. Yeah, you got to be really given. Man.
Although now some of the figures that I'm buying in 6-inch scale are inching up into like the $100 range, $120 range. You know, if you're getting Mezco, you're paying $120.
Right.
You know, there's I'll tell you what, I just got at Big Bad Toy Store. I just spent $40. I bought bulletproof BP vests from Cops. That should be arriving today. I picked up a bunch of Legends this week, and I got my Storm Marina, Cyclops, and Ryu, which are fantastic, and they're so good that I went and I pre-ordered the rest of the line.
So Tommy, obviously you have a pretty good sized toy section going on as well. Are you also a stickler for size? Does it have to be one specific format?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, most of my stuff is 6 and 7 inch. It's more pricing. Like I'm not going to get into Hot Toys because I would have to sell 15 of my figures to be able to pay for one of those. So my shelf would have literally one figure per shelf if I went to Hot Toys. They're just too expensive, and I have a hard time justifying spending that much. I don't mind spending $30 on a figure. That doesn't bother me. Even $40 if it's a figure that I really like. But some of these prices, they're awesome. Don't get me wrong. They're just even Mezco.
I thought those are like $250.
Nah, they're
for
crazy.
A good toy.
Yeah,
no, I'm
it's
still
looking for me. And I put all the extra parts in a bag and rarely ever use them again. I know, Aaron, you like to kind of redesign and change heads and do that. I haven't gotten to that yet. I would like to, but I just don't have the time.
Well, you know a guy who makes custom heads for figures and can paint them. So let me know when you decide to walk down that path.
All right.
What's your Instagram for that one, Aaron? If people want to get a hold of you,
Big Head Studios Customs.
Big Head Studios. Do you also have a website?
No, we just do it on Instagram. And then, you can go find it on eBay too. There's like an eBay store.
Very, very cool. Caleb says, you should have seen Critical Drinker's vid for that movie, The Bride. It proves that feminism isn't just a hive mind. It's made to make people miserable.
Drinker had a good one. I watched that one. And then I watched Disparu's video on it. And Disparu's was like, man, like that guy was preaching.
He didn't enjoy the film?
Well, he was focusing on the fact that Maggie Gyllenhaal keeps doing interviews where she's talking about, there's a lot of like female director, or there's not that many female directors, and I go and I watch their stuff, and I'm like, well, this doesn't really represent me. I don't see me in this, and it just absolutely shows you the hubris and the narcissism of some of these people, because it's like, oh, this isn't specifically about me. So then she tricks a studio into giving her $90 million, which anybody, like any studio head, would have been like, yeah, no, you're not, you're not getting that much money. She tricks them into giving her $90 million. She makes a movie that's, where she keeps saying, this is me, this is my voice, this is just all what's in my head. And then she wonders why nobody wants to greenlight her projects, because this is only for you. You spent $90 million making something that is only for you. You never considered the audience at all. You just assumed that everybody would flock to it because you're so genius and you're so wonderful and your thoughts must be on the screen. And that's not true. Maybe the reason you don't get roles, maybe the reason that you're not getting director gigs, maybe the reason that you've had so many struggles, even though you're a Nepo baby in Hollywood, and you haven't really had any struggles that anybody else has to face. Maybe the problem is you. Maybe you're just not that likable, and your film isn't that likable. And now you're finding out.
Dylan, did you go see The Bride? You're the big movie critic, right?
No, I did not go see it. That trailer looked terrible.
Oof. I'm a big Frankenstein movie fan. I will give it a chance later on when it goes on streaming, only because I am a huge Christian Bale fan. He usually is really good at picking projects. So even Equilibrium. Come on.
I think Christian Bale's great. I would not say he's the best at picking projects.
Really? I love that. What that was.
And you need to watch the interviews.
I've always been pleased.
He was
with
in Reign of
most
Fire.
everything
That shit was
He's
hot.
been in some
Rescue
incredible
Dawn.
movies.
Rescue Dawn was such a basic, fun, enjoyable movie. It wasn't that fun, but
he is personally great in everything he's in, but not everything he's in is great. There's a lot of stuff
Sully,
that's not very good.
Go watch the interviews, Sully, for this film where he's talking about how I always think it's interesting to flirt with career suicide. Like, he knows what this is. He knows what ended up on the screen.
I'm interested, and I heard it's not the cut that they saw like in the festivals last year that Gyllenhaal went back and did reshoots and re-edited it and threw in like a Blade Runner narrative style voice over it too. And I heard it just like there's like 2 versions out there too.
There's the part in the trailer that really made me was like, yeah, I'm not going to go see the movie. Where it's towards the end of the trailer where Christian Bale's Frankenstein goes like he gives her the title. He's like the Bride of Frankenstein. She goes, no. Just the Bride. It's like, it's one of these movies. That's what we're dealing with.
I'm not taking your last name.
Terrible.
Oh, that sounds awful. I'm glad I missed that one. I will be seeing Project Hail Mary though. That's the movie I want to go check out.
Me too.
Good.
There's really good reviews from everybody except the critics that are like, well, it's good, but it's it's a little bit predictable. It's a little bit traditional, which means not gay enough.
I'm going to see Project Hail Mary next week. Looking forward to it.
I'm gonna try to get Drew to go at Dragon Con, Dragon Con, MegaCon.
Very cool. Caleb also says Joe Quesada having no regrets. Didn't Alan Moore admit he regrets writing The Killing Joke and doesn't think it's a good story? He did.
He did.
He's wrong about that. I mean, Alan Moore's wrong about that. It is a good story. But
he regrets The Watchmen too.
I was about to say you shouldn't listen to anything Alan Moore says outside of his comic books. Just don't listen to anything he says publicly.
And don't listen to his opinion on his comic books. Like that's
well, at least he can have some self-reflection and have maybe some regret that maybe what I intended here and what actually happened weren't exactly coalescing into one positive outcome. And maybe I didn't wish to take comic books so dark. But Joe Quesada's like, no, this is a great idea. Spider-Man's more popular now than ever. One More Day was awesome. No.
I think with Alan Moore, it's more of like I see the correlation of regret being involved with DC Comics, and I come to this Frank Zappa quote. He said, "I was signed with Warner Brothers for 7 fucking years, man." I see that same energy coming from Alan Moore, working for Warner Brothers, being trapped in a contract and not being satisfied or getting your due. Dude, that's what I see.
Yeah. Did you get to watch the video that came out about the Joe Quesada One More Day thing? The Red Letter Media, Aaron?
Yeah, I absolutely did. I was dying when Rich Evans just looked right in the camera and said, F you, Joe Quesada. Like, I lost it because I'm like, so many people feel that way. And Joe continues to deny that story damaged Spider-Man, probably irreparably. And the idea that, oh, well, the movies are still good and kids still buy Spider-Man coloring books. And that none of that has anything to do with what you did. It all that happens in spite of what you did. It's like, the kid that's buying the coloring book or wants a Spider-Man action figure didn't have to suffer through reading, Brand New Day or, didn't have to, or One More Day, didn't have to deal with any of that. He gets to see Spider-Man pure in his mind, whereas we as comic book readers don't get to do that anymore because we had to go through this stupid selling his marriage to the devil bullshit that you decided would be good for no other reason than you were going through a divorce and you were down on marriage. We had to take smoking away from the characters because your dad died of lung cancer. I'm sorry that happened, but some people's families get murdered. You're not taking murder out of the comic books. You're not taking violence out of the comic books, but your personal bugaboos, those have to be addressed in Marvel Comics. I'm tired of the narcissism and people of like having to work out their own issues in comic books instead of going and getting some goddamn therapy.
Yeah, and Spider-Man One More Day is one of those things. It doesn't matter when you bring it up. Probably in 20 more years, you bring that thing up, people are still going to have very hot opinions on it. I make a video about it. I mentioned it in a video. The entire comment section becomes about that. People aren't happy. Do you remember reading One More Day, John?
Yeah, I mean, people are going to be mad about that forever. I mean, that's why Sully was just showing the Ultimate stuff. That's why I'm convinced, because the story was kind of boring, right? If I'm being honest, That largely succeeded because I think of that relationship and the potential of that relationship, and people were invested in Mary Jane and Peter, right? You read comic books because you're invested in the character, the narrative arcs, the story, the hero's journey. That's why you read comics. You're not reading comics to pursue someone's personal fucking traumas, right? I don't care what the writer's going through. Just like nobody, when I produce a variant cover, no one cares what's going on in my personal life. Just produce a good cover. Right? This is retail. This is commercial industry that we're dealing with. We're not we're not all friends
I can
with
see
everybody
John's
that we sell
pain
to.
in this bareness cover. He's laying it bare.
You really must have been going through something that didn't work.
Wouldn't that be weird?
This exclusive Poison Ivy cover really speaks to the things that John saw when he was on the streets as a cop, and the deep-seated trauma of dealing with the public. And
Yes,
you can tell his internal struggle through.
Yes, you can tell he had a bad experience at a Chinese restaurant that week.
This cover represents the dark crows of despair
all over
that John's soul.
I specifically asked for chopsticks. My succulent Chinese
fork in an Asian restaurant. Were they crazy?
Yeah,
that's really wild. Like, I don't know why we're subjected to that, honestly. I mean, we're all grown-ups. I mean, you would expect the people that run these fucking companies to be grown-ups. Like leave your personal issues on the side. I mean, if that can help inform your narrative, great. But I mean, when it's so transparently obvious that you're working through it in the narrative itself and you're just foisting it upon your customers, I think that's highly unfair. And not only that, but you're just destroying your own business in this at the same time. So it's definitely not self-aware.
Yeah, and apologize when you make a mistake. Even Frank Miller, maybe the greatest writer artist of all time. What did he do with the Holy Terror afterwards? Maybe I went too far. Not exactly my best book. It's okay to admit you made a mistake, but for Quesada won't do it.
But at least he did that with his own. I mean, I know that originally he pitched it as a Batman story, and thankfully it didn't end up being a Batman story. But at least he went on and he got that out in his own property. It's like I'm less harsh if you own it, and look, I think that what Eric Larson does with the Savage Dragon now is absolute garbage, but it's his book. He's welcome to do it. I know Sully likes it, but
another legendary bad take.
Yeah, I think it's awful, but it's his property. He's not taking that and then putting that on Spider-Man and working through and putting his weird kinks into Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what Dan Slott did.
That's right. That's what Tom King does.
Yeah. Galdon says, and on the subject, I believe Tom Brevoort is envious that Parker had a wife like MJ, and he does.
Could be.
I don't think Tom Brevoort had anything to do with One More Day.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does defend it though, as saying that
yes, he probably. He's.
I don't know that he doesn't. I don't know that he doesn't have a. I don't know that he doesn't have a wife. I mean, I know he's got.
I don't know either. He probably
got a son that he's. I assume he's estranged from because he chose to go on Twitter and denigrate his son.
Yeah, didn't sound like they were getting along, but anything's possible, maybe. But I don't think Brevoort had anything to do with Parker and MJ not being together. I think that obviously that was all Quesada. That's been well documented. But he does defend it to this day, but it's probably just towing the company line. He is a company man.
Chris MT said Tom King did Harambe. He killed Harambe.
Remember when that was a big meme? I remember that.
Yep.
Galb says James Gunn will most likely end up back at Marvel. Maybe
get away from DC. I'm fine with that.
Maybe a Supergirl blows up and Clayface does well, and by the time we get to that Superman movie, there's a bunch of momentum in the DCU. I don't see it personally, Dylan. I don't think the Supergirl movie is going to blow up, but.
Yeah, it doesn't look too good. The only thing I'm excited about is Man of Tomorrow. I'm excited for that, but everything else DCU related does not get me excited.
Yeah, he might have a string of bombs by the time he gets there. He might already be removed by the time that movie comes out.
I think it all depends on the Paramount stuff. I think even with some bombs, by the time that gets there, they could keep him around because of everything that's happened with the history of DC on the big screen. I think they could keep him around, but with Paramount, I have no idea.
But I imagine Kevin Feige would like to have him back. Start up another franchise because his Guardians did well.
By that point, Marvel may be looking at replacing Kevin Feige with James Gunn.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Weird times.
I don't think Doomsday is going to go the way they think it is.
it probably needs to do like a $1.5 billion or something crazy. Obviously, we haven't seen the full numbers, but Federico says Energon did what IDW couldn't, and I want ROM.
Yeah.
Aren't some of the ROM Space Knights Marvel property or something though?
Yeah, they got the license back because they reprinted some stuff.
Yeah, but some of them were their original characters or something. I thought.
Yeah, a lot of the Space Knights are their original characters, and you can't use them. And I think that their design for the Dire Wraiths is theirs. It's weird how that works.
It gets kind of convoluted on that one.
Yeah, they had to. I mean, ROM was just a figure, and they didn't. The toy company hadn't created any mythology or anything for them, and so Marvel ended up doing all that for them.
Man, so you're a big ROM Space Knight fan, Eric?
Mm-hmm. Yep, big part of my childhood growing up. This comic book, look at this cover. This is a Dire Wraith, and the Dire Wraiths were hiding out in human blood, and humans would get transfusions, and they would get turned into wraiths. It was so gross. It was great. I mean, this was real keen science fiction horror, like early 80s. This was, and I was like 11 years old buying this off the spinner rack. Yeah, the 60-cent days. Yeah. This lives on my spinner rack. ROM, the Space Knight.
You got a full ROM run?
No, I wish I would. I could. Nope. You know, that's the good thing about this thing of ours. We can just go back and, you know, I got so many ROMs that there were only like 70. There's 100 ROMs plus 3 annuals. I think something like that. That's not a bet. You can get that as a chunk. Someone wants to unload that. You know, yeah. I would love to get that.
I would Dinosaur Hunter.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would love to get a full run of Battlestar Galactica from like 1978 to 1980 Marvel books. I think there are like only 26 of them. I mean, and that could be like pretty darn cheap too. But
do you want to get the Rob Liefeld reimagining of Battlestar Galactica?
No, not really. I want that
really
old stuff.
That's the thing that really happened. Yeah,
there's some Walter Simonson stuff on that too.
Is it based on the Sci-Fi Channel stuff?
No, it's based on the original stuff. It was before the Sci-Fi Channel stuff.
So the original Battlestar is really hokey and kind of stupid.
This is back when he was Extreme Studios before they became Awesome.
Oh.
I think it was it was post him getting kicked from Image, and then before they did the Awesome thing, and I don't know, I can't track all that.
Next we got Frank Zanka from Destiny Horizons. I have a hot toy problem and I need an intervention.
Frank does have a Hot Toys problem. I've seen some of his collection, and
Sully, you almost had a hot toy problem. What did you do to intervene on yourself?
My pockets, my wallet. I mean, so I had like that voice inside my head, you know, just said like, don't do it. I know you're looking for that Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett to put right next to your Han and Carbonite. I got a Han and Carbonite 1/6. It's on my Star Wars shelf, and it's perfect. I mean, I've always wanted a Han and Carbonite like that, you know, and
that's more of a statue than an action figure, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly, and it's got a nice display, but it needs that Boba Fett. It not the Book of Boba Fett one, not the repaint. No. It needs that Empire Strikes Back one to be perfect. I want it still. I've got
the Boba Fett Hot Toys. I've got most. So I've got the Jedi, the Empire, the one that has the eyes painted on the helmet, which is like the original design. I think they made him a Corey that I've got, and then I've got the Kenner colors. And then once we got to Book of Boba Fett, and I was like, "That's it, I'm done. Bye, Star Wars."
So that's the intervention that he needs,
right? You just need to, you know, it was like quitting smoking. Like I put cigarettes down 20 years ago, cold turkey, didn't look back. You know, not a one, not a drag. I still have dreams about smoking a cigarette, and I can smell them on my fingertips, and I feel guilty. So it's like, yeah, like those Hot Toys, because they're so good. I got a Captain America from Endgame, you know, holding Mjolnir. That's like, you know, I'm like a huge Cap fan. That's my cosplay. So it's, but yeah, those things can be addictive, and I almost went head over heels. There should be like nothing but Star Wars lightsabers, Jedi and Sith in battle formations behind me, and I would have been like $10,000 lighter.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a toy set that where you're like, I gotta stop this because this is going to go too far?
No.
No, you've got a fucking industrial size storage unit.
I needed that intervention long ago, and it's too late for me.
You need a wife.
You've got 3 flags, right?
Yeah,
USS flags.
I have 3 USS flags. Yeah. Now, granted, I got the flags. I started picking those up in the '90s when they were still relatively, affordable.
Really? Were they not 12 feet long anymore?
No, they were still 6 feet.
That's still a problem.
Still 6 feet long. My buddy and I were working out the other day, like if we 3D printed a USS flag for classified, and we wanted it to be true scale to an aircraft carrier, we were working out like how long it would have to be, and it was like, like it'd be like 24 feet or more.
Very nice. Rate that 7. A lot of people don't want to admit it, but Marvel started going downhill when the Quesada Gemis regime took over 25 years ago. Now I don't know if I can fully get behind that take, Aaron, because Quesada was in charge of the last great era of Marvel. He brought in Bendis, he brought in Hickman, he brought in Mark Miller, and really invigorated the line and gave Marvel like a good 5-6 year period when it was great. Now that also went down under his watch, but it didn't immediately go down because of him, though.
Credit where it's due. He revitalized Marvel coming out of their bankruptcy, and he made the company hot again. And then it wasn't until the end where he made he made the blunder that continues to define his career. But that's really the problem, right? Is you have to finish strong. That's why Brian Michael Bendis is not very well thought of anymore, is because he didn't finish strong. He didn't even finish his events strong. We've talked multiple times about how like Bendis was really good at getting you on board for a setup, but then the story never finished in a way that was satisfying. And it would just lead into the next thing. And you'd be, I like the setup for this. And then it wasn't satisfying. So unfortunately, you have to, as the song says, you got to know when to walk away.
Yeah. But Quesada definitely did some great things early on and ushered in the last great era of Marvel. Hopefully we got another one coming up. I don't see it right around the corner, but it certainly did
not with the current leadership. I mean, you'd have to get rid of Buckley, you'd have to get rid of CB Cebulski, you'd have to get rid of Tom Brevoort, and then bring in some people who are hungry. And I don't mean hungry in the way that CB Cebulski is hungry, where he's not thinking about comics, he's just thinking about lunch. I mean, people that are like, man, I really want to do something here. But you know what? That may be impossible. It's like we sit here and we talk about Cebulski and Brevoort, and I do think that they are guys that are should be put out to pasture. But the fact of the matter is they work in a corporate structure. Marvel is owned by Disney. It's not easy to make bold moves or to make interesting decisions or to shake things up. Corporatism is death.
Yeah, you got to have that the group agreeing to it. But Bill Jemas did write potentially the worst comic book in history of the world with Marvel. He can live with that too. Just an Asshole says, hi, y'all. Been watching the channel for over a year now, and I appreciate your honest takes on modern comics and hope we will get the great stories we deserve.
Be nice.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
We're getting some great stories right now, though. Really enjoying Absolute Wonder Woman, loving Space Ghost, G.I. Joe Real American Hero, the G.I. Joe series. TMNT is really, really good now.
Philip Kennedy Johnson's Hulk.
Hulk's been really
good.
Great. Superman by Joshua Williamson's been really consistent for me. I really liked it. Even the lower issues, you know what I mean? Overall, it's been a great experience.
Yeah, it sounds like we're heading for some big things at DC. We're at the tail end or the second half of the Darkseid saga. So hopefully they're able to nail that landing. But I would love to see Marvel Comics get on board with making good comic books. That's the real problem right now. At least in my opinion. It sounds like that's what everybody else is observing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But thank you very much for watching us for last year. I'm glad that you're enjoying the channel and you decided to stick around. Rate that 7. Marvel over the last 25 years told stories that should have never been told, like Wolverine's origin and having Wolverine and Spidey join the Avengers. Wolverine's origin is definitely was not a good idea. And I think One More Day was a terrible idea. I think making Captain America Hydra a terrible idea. The outing of Bobby Drake was a terrible idea. So they've definitely done some really bad stuff over the last 25 years. I'm not sure that I'll put Wolverine and Spidey joining the Avengers as part of that, because that did allow Bendis to elevate the Avengers into being a superhero team on the level of X-Men, or at least in the eyes of fans with sales and enthusiasm. I don't know if he can do that without Wolverine and Spider-Man being on the team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I really like those books too. That Lennel Yu art on that floppy got me every time. Got me every month. I loved it.
Yeah. It has been an interesting last quarter decade. And then he says sales of Marvel under Quesada and Gemis were artificially inflated due to temporary sales boosting stunts aimed at speculators. That has also been the last 35 years. So I mean, that started in the early 90s, right, John?
Yeah, I think so. But you know, it is easy to say that, and I understand that sentiment. But at the same time, speculation is a part of the comic book market, right? So, you know, to divide people up. I mean, what I don't like, let me just start off by saying this. What I don't like is I don't like people coming in from outside that are not comic book people and just buying it like you would buy a stock that you're not really personally invested in. You know what I mean? I look at comics as like our thing. You know, it's kind of like the mafia. This is our thing. This is our little thing that we have. Don't come in from the outside and try to push up on us, right? I'm old school Sicilian, right? Sicily via, you know, South Philly, and now I'm in South Jersey. But you know, I don't like that. But speculation, I think, can be healthy if you have comic book fans, like let's say what's going on with Dork and Nectar and some of these other indie titles, Narcos. Is that what it's called? Narcos, something like that. I think that can be healthy because you have people that love comics, that love the story or the concept, right? The setup, like Aaron was just talking about. Some comics have a great setup and no payoff at all. It's like having sex and not finishing. But I think that can be healthy with inside the industry, you know, for sure. If you have someone that absolutely adores comics, that really wants to have that absolute Batman #1 Dragotta cover, which is now iconic, right? I would argue it's as iconic as McFarlane, some of McFarlane's stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've done some homages myself already. But I would say that can be healthy. That's a good part of the market, right? Because it drives sales. And again, anything that drives sales helps employ people within comics, creatives in comics. I don't give a flying fuck about the corporates in comics. What I care about is the artist, the writer, the inker, the colorist, the letterer, right? The people that are working behind the scenes, the people at the printer, right? These are people in comics. So I do think that can be healthy. And I honestly don't know how much it's boosted. Sales are boosted by speculators coming in from the outside. So I would just argue that it's, you know, you need the readers like the Sullys of the world. You need people come in and they're just addicted to reading, like I used to be before I. It's weird. I start producing comics and I almost stop reading entirely because I'm so busy with comics I can't fucking read them, which is a sad irony, but. You know, I think it's a healthy part of the industry. I feel that sometimes it's looked down upon when maybe we shouldn't.
Well, I think it's because of Marvel and a lot of the other publishers and the way they do it. Because you know, you've got your normie, you know, casuals that come in and maybe they have a couple of series that they like. Maybe they don't have a pull list. They'll grab something here or there. Then you got your hardcores that are in there every single week. They got their pull list, you know, and they're spending hundreds of dollars, you know, potentially a week on the things that they're reading. Then you got your collectors, which are going to overlap a little bit with your hardcore, but they're getting their comic books in a different way. They're completionists. They're going to get multiple covers. Then you have your speculators that are going out there and looking for things that they believe will be hot, maybe opportunities to flip things on eBay and in other places like that. And that's all part of a healthy system, I think, within American comic books. But if you ignore all the readers and just go in on the speculation and try to hammer the collectors by putting out 50 different covers, that's when things become unhealthy because you're overly dependent on those collectors. You're taxing them too much for their love for your characters. And then you're burning out some of these speculators because you've driven out the casuals. Those speculations don't really turn out in the end. So that's where I think, you know, the concentrating on too much of the collector speculator market in at the expense of readers and good stories ends up making it unhealthy.
Right. We should have both. It's a both end. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And in a healthy market, you're going to have all of that stuff. And it, you know, the casuals are going to end up becoming some of your speculators. They're going to be becoming some of your collectors as they get more in tune with it and they fall in love with it. And some people fall off, but you're always creating new ones. And I don't know that we're doing that, but creating extra sales via gimmickry, whether it be foil covers and all that kind of stuff has been going on, since the 90s now. And
right.
Probably all of Marvel's sales right now are due to extra covers.
I agree. I mean, the stories are really lacking. The creative talent behind the scenes is definitely lacking at Marvel. And, you just look at what DC's doing. I've said this to you privately, Wes. I've said it openly on some Whatnot streams. Absolute has, the Absolute, what is that? Tide has raised all ships. And I do believe that part of the indie resurgence that's happening now with, readers and speculators, because I would say the books that are becoming hot, from what I've seen, are well written. They're well created books. They're well constructed books. They're good conceptually. They're good in execution. So I would say that, without Absolute, I would raise the question, would we even have this resurgence in indie interest right now? I don't know the answer to that. My opinion is probably not, to the extent that it is right now anyway. But I'd be curious, Aaron, what do you think about that?
I mean, I think that you framed it really well at the beginning, and it's something that like I've known in the back of my head, but I'd never really articulated it the way that you did, which is the variant covers that 616 Comics do, that the Comic Mint does, that these companies do. It's putting money in the pockets of artists. Yes, it's putting money in the pockets of the company because but like especially when you're going out to indie artists, you're doing a Dwarf cover and that's putting money in Brett Bean's pocket. Yep. And Brett is a guy who's been in the industry for a long time. He's got some notoriety. Like people know him. He's a great guy, and he deserves this success. He's deserved it for a long time, and I'm glad that something finally hit for him. And the fact that now you are, retailers like you were going to him and saying like, let me do some exclusive covers, and let's knock this stuff out. It's given money to him as a creator, which he needs, and it's given money to any guest artist that you bring on to do a cover. And so I think that that's healthy for the people that are producing comics. I had somebody on Twitter the other day start to get snippy with me, and I said, listen, I have put more money in the pockets of artists, because they were like, oh, you have like an AI avatar, and it's one that Wes made, based off of an actual photo of me. And I was like, I said, it's AI used for non-commercial purposes. I don't use AI on books. I pay actual artists, and I have paid artists over the course of my career thousands and thousands of dollars. I have helped support their families, with work that I've given them, even from a company that I'm working for or individually on projects that I'm working on. So don't come at me and think that you're going to, try and judge me and make me sit and, oh no, because I've done more than you have. So shut up,
For sure.
That's what I'm about. I'm about supporting the artists, and I think that's healthy what you do.
General Ballsack said that wasn't him, Aaron.
But Aaron getting snippy on Twitter? No.
The funny thing is like people think that like I'm upset when I respond to people on Twitter, and I'm like, Doc and I talk about it all the time. But like Twitter is so fire and forget for me. And I'll match whatever your energy is. If you come in and you're respectful and you want to have a nice conversation, I'll have a nice conversation with you. If you come in and you want to be an asshole, I'll be an asshole. The only thing is I'm better at it than you. So,
Federico de la Casa. I recommend Masters of the Universe from Dark Horse from Tim Seeley. Sick art and story.
Cool. Yeah, I said in the comment, Tim's a big Motu nerd.
The Tim Seeley Master Universe stuff I saw was Freddie Williams II. I'm not sure if he's doing that one right now, though. But that stuff was sick. Freddie is absolutely amazing. He's killing it on TMNT right now, too.
Yeah.
And he's pretty fun on Red Letter Media when he shows up. He's
Freddie Williams II?
Yeah, he shows up as a special guest sometimes on RLM. It's pretty fun. Like Plinketto and stuff like, or videotape Jenga. Fun stuff, then.
But appreciate the recommendation, Federico. And now we've got HH in the family over at Super Comics. Shout out to the Thinking Critical team from Fan Expo Cleveland. Visit us in Artist Alley booth PA7. Make yours indies and support Thinking Critical and Super Comics. Absolutely. Ohio is for lovers. You're going to love it in Cleveland, dude. Everybody loves Cleveland.
Cleveland rocks.
You know what? Since you're in Cleveland, if you get a chance, say hi to our good buddy Tom Zoller, Cleveland's most handsome man.
Can you get the Skyline chili in Cleveland, or is that just a Cincinnati thing?
I think that's just a Cincinnati thing, isn't it?
think so. But otherwise, I'll be getting some Skyline chili. Chili on spaghetti noodles. It's beautiful. Can you get with that, John? You said you're Sicilian. Can you get with people putting chili on top of pasta?
I love chili. Yeah, anything with tomatoes on pasta is for me.
There we go.
As long as you got some tomatoes in there, and you got to say tomato, not tomato. Tomato. Tomatoes.
Well, we've been talking around this a little bit, but I guess we'll get more into the Tom Brevoort of it all, even the Joe Quesada, after some of the things that he said this past week regarding his time and his additions to Spider-Man One More Day. And he basically got into a big argument on his Substack. Tom Brevoort comes back with his appearance on Word Balloon podcast, talking about how, we like it when people are mad. When they get angry, they're out up there tweeting about it. They're talking about how much they dislike it. Whether they like it or not, we've roped them in and we've captured them. And I just don't think it works that way, Tommy. Getting people angry can bring them in for a story when you pay it off correctly. Getting them angry over and over again and then never giving them what they want, probably not exactly what he thinks he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has happened time and time again, and it's been proven that doesn't work long term. You might be able to get them to Google more about whatever you're trying to rage bait them with. I don't think they might buy one comic just to see why everything is so up in arms, why everyone's up in arms, but you're not going to hold them for an arc. You're not going to hold them for a long-term story by doing that. So even if he is correct and that next issue of whatever sells better, it's not a long-term plan to bring people into your title. It's just not going to work that way. And it's been proven, whether it's the She-Hulk TV show where they did that, it just got worse and worse for them once they started to attack fans. It's better just to do what you think is right and then leave it all alone and let other people talk about it. But once you start to get involved with the fans, you just create a warfare, and I've never seen it pan out to where, the company's benefiting from attacking their own fans. It makes no sense to me at all. Again, I've had Tom Brevoort on my podcast, really nice guy, has incredible knowledge of, comic books and stuff like that. I don't think he's in the right position over at Marvel. But I think he's going the wrong path by thinking that doing that to fans is going to do anything to benefit Marvel long term. It just doesn't work out that way.
I wish that he had great knowledge of the fan base and of what makes the fans engaged, because this is everything with Marvel and everything in that sort of thinking is very short term. Yeah. Short term rage leads to people being engaged until it runs out, and what keeps people engaged is having fun, enjoying what they're reading, whether it's harrowing or whether it's tragic or but keeping people hooked in and keeping them entertained. And when you have contempt for your audience, which all of these guys at Marvel, they talk down to their audience. Yeah. So, it's you hear not so much from Cebulski, because he's just thinking about, what bow buns he's going to get as soon as he gets out of work. But, you got all these guys, Joe Quesada, when he was talking about, the stories. You've got Tom Brevoort. They all talk down to the audience. And it's like the audience is who allows you to do what you do. Robert Picardo was just saying, on Starfleet Academy, was like, well, the IP is owned by the studios, not the fans. No, but the fans decide whether or not the IP is viable.
It's worth anything, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can own that IP all you want and not be able to make a dollar off of it. It's the fans that get to decide that. So you constantly have to be checking in with your fans. You have to respect them. You have to, these are people that you're asking to give your hard-earned money. We say it all the time. You are in the customer service business. If you're asking people to give you money for your product, your comic, your story, your hamburger, whatever it is, you're in the customer service business, and you better goddamn well come correct and respect the people who are giving you their money. Because if you don't, they'll withhold it, and then you're screwed.
Agree.
Yeah, and I do think that his statement is just odd in any other retail context. Like I said before, apply this to Target or Walmart or a restaurant. The statement is so weird if you apply it to any retail context. It would devastate my business personally, right? And I did look him up on Wikipedia, to the extent that Wikipedia is correct and not edited in certain ways at certain times, but it said that he studied in an illustration program at the University of Delaware. This is Tom Brevoort we're talking about. And then he started at Marvel as a college intern in 1989. So what does that tell me? It tells me that he never was the owner of a business. He never had to directly see, he was never a salesman, right? I was a salesman before I started my business. I mean, I was in government work too, but I also have sales backgrounds in different areas. And I kind of think that you need some sales experience when you go into a high-level editorial position at Marvel, because a high-level editor is directing story and is directing creative over large swaths of time and large print runs and large narrative arcs. So if you don't have any sales or business experience, what in the motherfucking world are you doing in that position where you're able to influence whole lines of comics and whole story arcs in a direction where you're actually happy if people are enraged? And that also, I think, to me, not only does he not have any background in sales, I don't think he has any background in a basic understanding of human fucking nature, right? If I'm just being brutally honest, which is normally the critique of me. But because any understanding of human nature, you would understand that rage or anger quickly turns to apathy. Is not going to just fucking burn for 100 years and you're going to stay engaged. You're going to walk the fuck away. So I don't think there's any understanding of how to conduct sales. I don't think there's any understanding of how of human nature, because rage eventually just turns into not giving a flying fuck and moving on to the Energon universe or to the new Snyder universe, not Snyderverse, but the new Snyder universe with Absolute, right? And Scott is, from what I understand, largely directing, creative at DC. So, again, it looks like Tom Brevoort came right out of the University of Delaware and went right into Marvel and just stayed there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if directly if he has any background in sales, but it certainly seems like he doesn't, and I think that's a problem.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. Yeah, he's been at Marvel. I think he's been there longer than anybody else at Marvel up to this point right now.
Right.
Everybody he grew up with at Marvel is already retired. So I think, is the longest running employee. From what he said. So he's been there a very long time. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like you mentioned, John, in any other retail business, you'd be fired immediately when you go after your fans, or
of course,
or the opportunity for your title or whatever you're selling to be doomed by your comments. No one would put up with that because they're for profit. I think because Marvel is such a small percent of total Disney revenue that no one's really even looking at it. It doesn't affect their P&L, doesn't affect their bottom line with whatever happens at Marvel. So you have people at Marvel who could get away with these things because no one notices it. It's a blip on the map. It's a gnat on an elephant's ass. It's so small when you consider what Disney represents from a total revenue standpoint, that there's no adults in the room watching over going, you can't do that to our paying customers. Like, our success depends on more people reading our titles. None of that is part of their business model at Marvel. And I just think it's so small that no one notices it. That's the only reason. That's the only thing in my mind I could think of that would make sense to me as to why they would do something so ridiculous, because anywhere else they would be gone. No retail environment would that ever be put up with. I'd be fired immediately if I said something about our customer base or to one of our retailers that carry our products. It would be over for me instantly. And it blows my mind. I don't know.
Well, the moment that you start to attack your audience, and this should have happened years ago, the moment that the creators and the executives at Marvel started to attack the audience and say, we don't want you, we want this other audience that doesn't exist, but they thought existed. The moment they started trying to replace that audience, they should have been fired. The moment Kathleen Kennedy was like, well, listen, we could just get all the girls to like Star Wars too. Someone with sense should have said, no, that's not how this works. Yeah. You don't, there's nothing that fits all of these, demos that you're going after. Is it a good idea to try to get more girls into Star Wars? Sure. More people into Star Wars makes more money. But the girls that like Star Wars already like Star Wars. And so you don't need to change it. Wes and I talk about the poll all the time that was like, well, 50% of women read comics. And everybody was like, oh, and it was like, no, 50% of women know about comics because they've seen the MCU now. And it's like, but based on that Facebook poll, everybody goes, "Oh, we need to start catering more to women." Well, if you believe that 50% of the audience is women, why would you change a thing?
And how many people were polled?
Yeah.
I mean, how many people were in that poll? Literally, what's your error bar on that stat?
It was based on Facebook survey data on the amount of people that said they had interest in Marvel, as their characters, or DC as their characters, versus the amount of men and it was like somewhat equal. It was like, the 50% of women are interested in Marvel comics and DC comics. They would like to support the comics, but you're not making comics for them. That's why you're not getting their business. And it was like, no, they were aware of the characters. And they liked Iron Man because fucking Robert Downey Jr. was cool. They weren't ready to go to their fucking local comic book shop and drop down, $4 an issue and jump in and go for on a 3-year run. It's a different animal,
And that's okay. It's okay. I said this on X the other day in regards to Kathleen Kennedy's stupid statements coming out, and they're like, "What do you consider your success at Lucasfilm?" And she's like, "Well, with Disney taking over Lucasfilm, I was able to, bring in all these women. I was able to hire more women, and like 80% of our writing room is women now, and it's like, yeah, and your revenue is down. So what did you really? If the only measure of success is we wanted to fire more men and hire more women, then I guess you succeeded. But like, is the property healthy? Is it making money? It's not.
Yeah. Star Wars is Star Wars in worse shape than Marvel Comics?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think so. What it represents to culture, what it represents from a revenue standpoint, the impact that it's had on so many different people and things, for sure. I would think.
Right. Now, I do understand kind of where Brevard is coming from, because there was a time, like maybe in the mid 90s or even maybe early 2000s, where you could do something that got people angry. They would talk about it in their shop. You're like, well, the only way I can find out what he's really getting at is maybe dropping the money down and getting the issue right now. You don't really have that. If somebody goes, "Oh, you won't believe what they did in this week's Avengers," right? You go,
right.
"Oh shit, Avengers" on your YouTube. Then you go, "Okay, filter for the last week. Who's talking about this Avengers comic and talking about what happened?" And they'll explain it all for you.
There's got to be some kind of conflation with media churn in digital media, and like, hey, we're getting all of these metrics, these clicks. My analysts say that we have people's attention. People are talking about our product. People are talking about it online, and we can prove to our bosses, hey, look, there's so much interest in what we're producing. And
but there's more people watching the Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic talk about Star Trek, Starfleet Academy than are probably watching the show right now. Does that really equal success? It equals success for Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic, but does it actually equal success for Paramount because people are aware that they put out a show that's absolutely terrible? Probably not.
Yeah, there's a lot of pop culture stuff now. I'm way more interested in the commentary on it than I am in actually watching it.
Me too.
I would rather sit and watch Mahler and the guys on EFAP tear something apart for 3 hours, and because they're actually making good observations within that dissection of whatever it is. Then that's more interesting to me than watching, the property, which was not written by people who thought about it at all in any kind of, critical or creative way. They just vomited it onto the page, and then it got vomited onto the screen.
Yeah. Dylan, it's the same thing within video games. It feels like all the AAA companies were just like, you know what? The best way to make a video game popular is to do something everyone hates. They'll talk about it. It's like, yeah, they're talking about it, but they're talking about how much they hate it and how much they aren't going to buy it.
Well, they got hit with the same thing that Aaron was talking about, where when you used to look at like behind the scenes developer stuff, it was like it's mainly a bunch of like nerdy dudes, and now it's a lot of pink-haired ladies and dudes that aren't dudes anymore, and a lot of that, and you're like, oh, there's a correlation here with the quality of video games and who's making them.
Well, and who they're designed for. They're not really designed for people that are into gaming.
Yep, it's unfortunate.
It turns out that, and this is, on average. So again, there are exceptions to every rule. So, understand what on average is before I say this. On average, it turns out that women are not very good at writing masculine fiction that appeals to men.
Which shouldn't be surprising.
No, it shouldn't be. But
don't you dare say anything mean about Ultimate X-Men again, Aaron. Oh, that was me. Oh.
So what's next for Marvel, do you think, Tommy? Where do they go from here? I'm seeing the announcements that they're making, and it feels like there's no real course correction, and they're just going to keep the straight and narrow.
I'm not sure too many things will change. It does seem like they're seeing what DC is doing, and they are trying to bring on some bigger names from a talent. I mean, you see what they've done with Phil Kennedy Johnson, giving him, his contract. You see Joshua Williamson coming over for Iron Man. It does seem like they know they need to do something, but until leadership is directed by the owners to make a change, or just an outright change is made in leadership, you're not going to see a change. I mean, that's who these people are. So I can't see, unless someone else gets involved, not too much changing. I just don't see it.
Yeah. But it's too bad, because they could use Marvel right now being pretty darn good, because they put out so many books.
Yeah.
Let's see it for the Papals. Marvel 2099 says editors want you angry so they can look up how many articles are made and comments are written. It all counts, even if it's the fans tearing the story apart or saying how bad a character is being portrayed. All counts as hits.
Sounds about
If you're in a for-profit business, that does not create profit, though.
Right.
It puts the name out there and it gets people to talk about it. But if it doesn't put people into a comic book shop to buy that comic, at the end of the day, if you're a for-profit business, this doesn't benefit you, because all the traction that's being gained by those conversations are happening from other YouTubers talking about it. They're the ones that are making the money off of that, not Marvel. So where is the profit being generated for the organization by creating that kind of an environment if it doesn't translate into comics being sold?
Yeah, I think these boomers just haven't figured out what trending really means and how that equates to actual business. Just trending doesn't equal success.
No.
There's a Ryan George video that's about that, where it's like his old relative is like, why don't stories like this ever hit trending? And he's like, first of all, that's meaningless now. Like, you don't even know what that phrase means. It's like, oh, hey, everybody's talking about our new One World Under Doom. And then you look at the comments and like everybody's like, this sucks, I dropped it. And it's like, yeah, look at all the engagement. Okay. I guess.
Yeah.
Didn't make you any money.
Yeah, I don't think they've adapted to the digital world yet. Very, very well. Unfortunate. Super Frandaman, what are your thoughts on ASM Venom Death Spiral event? It's a bold move, killing off both Peter and Eddie's relatives, in my opinion. Now Eddie's dad has been killed. That is true. That was revealed in this week's Venom. I thought the very first issue, ASM Venom Death Spiral #1 or whatever, I thought it was a train wreck. I thought it was poorly paced, not very well set up. Dylan and I had to do a review of that one when we were doing the Hot or Not podcast, and I didn't think it was done very well. The next issue was an ASM done by Joe Kelly, and I thought it was an enormous step up. I think it was, I can't remember the artist right now, but the art was really, really good, and I was like, well, it's not something I would recommend, but I wouldn't recommend staying away from it either. That ASM issue was actually pretty above average. But then this week's Venom by Al Ewing and Carlos Gomez on art was worse than the first one. So it's kind of been uneven and all over the place. Now, the idea that there's a serial killer out there that are weaving their way back to Peter Parker and Eddie Brock by killing off all their family members is somewhat interesting. And I think it could be done well. But I don't know. It's not really hitting it for me, personally. Anybody else reading Death Spiral? Sounds like it's not hitting.
Yeah.
No
thoughts on it, because I've given it no thought whatsoever to even look at it.
And John, you said you did some special covers for Death Spiral and it didn't work out all that well?
No, I mean, I was hoping sales would be a lot better. As soon as I saw that there was this, I think it's Torment, the character, and then there's Venom, Carnage, and Spidey, I immediately thought of the Miles Morales, Ultimate Fallout 4 cover. So I asked Tyler Kirkham. Tyler's not keen these days too much on doing homage covers, but I always pitch them if I have an idea. I have an idea for one that we're going to talk about soon that I'm not going to say publicly, but I'm going to ask him to do the Spider-Man Hulk Punisher one. I have a pretty good idea of what I want to do with it, but I'm not sure, because some artists, it's interesting. They want to do original stuff. Some love doing homages. I look at homages as like a tribute. You know, some people are like, well, that's cheap. And I'm like, well, I love comics. Like this is a tribute to the original cover. It's not in any way intended to be cheapening the process, the creative process. I love it. So that's not part of my thought process on it. But we did an Ultimate Fallout 4 homage with all 4 characters on the cover. Tyler did a great job as always. He's wonderful on superhero composition. And I was like, wow, this is going to hit. And this just shows you, right? So I invested, all transparency, about $23,000 in a 3-cover set. That's how much it costs to do a Marvel trade dress at $3,000, Virgin at $1,000, Virgin 3rd cover at $1,000. It's about $23,000. And you gotta sell more comics than you would think to make that money back, even to break even. And I didn't make it, not even by a long stretch. You know, so some projects I take a big hit on. And I thumbed through the issue. You know, I got it a couple days before release. I thumbed through it. I was not impressed with the interior art. Who was that, Wes, on the interiors for that? Yeah, right. I've seen him do better, and it was just kind of dead and lifeless. There was no kinetic energy to any of the panel-to-panel movement. It just seemed very static and lifeless. The story didn't. I mean, the ending was interesting a little bit, but Marvel, it just breaks my heart because I'm called the 616 Comics, right? So that's a Marvel reference. My logo is an homage to the Flash logo, right? With the circle with the line through it, the lightning bolt. So I tried to bring in some DC elements, even though I'm a Marvel. I grew up mainly Marvel. And it just breaks my fucking heart that Marvel sucks so bad right now. It really does. And I don't want to criticize Brevoort. You know, I've heard that he's a very nice guy. I don't like being a dick. I feel like I'm forced to be a dick because no one listens, right? No one listens to the fans. No one listens to the comments. They go, oh, we're getting engagement. Well, you're getting people that are quickly not going to give a fuck at all, and they're not going to comment. And if you do have engagement, it's negative, which is going to steer potential new customers away. So I don't understand. It's like if a restaurant got bad reviews on Yelp. And they're like, well, we're getting great engagement. Well, yeah.
I got an F on my restaurant, man. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it was just weird timing for this event, too, because Peter had just been in space, and he, like, literally comes back, and you expect him to fight Hellgate, who's the one that, like, punched him into space, and still haven't seen Hellgate. You've got to go fight this serial killer first. Kind of weird.
I don't know why they shoot their storylines in the foot like that.
Yeah.
You know, totally. I don't know why they don't elevate the writer, right? You need to really elevate the writer. What's your vision for this project, right? How do you want to execute it? What type of artist do you want to use? How long is this going to go on for? Okay, we're gonna give primacy of place to the main creator of the book, the artist writer team. What do you guys need to execute this, right? Because think about it this way: if there's a 12-issue mini coming out, right? You're not going to interrupt the fucking 12-issue mini and put an event right in the middle of it and chop it into 2 because you're going to kill off the storyline. I don't know why this isn't taken into account with regular Marvel Comics. You know, we are going to talk about with the ongoing series, that is. I know we're going to talk about the Punisher Spidey Hulk thing. And that's something
that's what I was going to say.
Because it's a different universe, right? Or a different time.
I don't think Philip Kennedy Johnson is he's been doing an amazing job on Hulk. So you have this Bruce Banner Hulk thing going on over there. And then in comes Hickman, and he did this over on Imperial. He just takes that same Hulk out, and it's just like it doesn't fit with what we've been given for the past 3 years with Philip Kennedy Johnson. And it seems like he's going to do that again and come this
June. Out of continuity, like Wolverine Revenge.
You know, okay.
It's supposed to be a different continuity, which is actually preferable, right? You want, if you're going to tell a story and it's radically different than the ongoing, you want it to be like a separate type of thing so that it doesn't interrupt the momentum of what Phil Kennedy Johnson's doing. You know, so I just don't understand why you chop these things up. Everyone's waiting for the Hellgate showdown, and then you postpone it, and you got this Torment character coming in, people getting killed. It's like, well, what the fuck does this have to do with? It would be like watching a streaming series, and the streaming series is completely interrupted in the middle of it for this other story, and you're like, where did this come from? Yeah. Like, I don't understand why comics thinks it can do these things. Like, why does comics think it can do these things? Because it can't. It clearly can't.
And Calb says, are they allergic to money?
Seems like it.
Seems like it sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's frustrating.
Yep. So we are running out of time. We are going to get one last thing in. I wanted to talk about this. I know Aaron isn't too keen on this one, but we do have Absolute Robin promised in Absolute Batman number 20. And Tommy, we got hinted that it might be Robins.
Yes.
Scott Snyder himself has said every Robin is in play, that they all exist on this earth or in the Absolute Universe other than Damian Wayne, because Bruce and Talia have not met, because she's messing with Superman right now, trying to kill him or I guess capture him and turn him into like their puppet. Although Catwoman may play a part in Damian in the future. What do you think? Are you getting excited for some Absolute Robins?
I mean, I'll read it. There was quite a few Absolute titles I didn't get excited about that surprised me. Absolute Batman, to be honest, when it came out, I was like, that doesn't look like it's going to be, and I love it. It's been great. So I certainly will be getting it. I certainly will be reading it. I hope it's good. We'll see, man. We'll see.
We've already seen Dick Grayson.
Yep.
This last issue, we saw Barbara Gordon with a Batman helmet.
Yeah.
Right, Dylan? And Batman told her she could keep it.
Yep.
There's no way their heads are the same size, though.
No. Vastly different.
Vastly different.
I'm excited to see what they do with the Robins. It'll be interesting. I'm hoping he goes somewhere else and doesn't do like he did with like Dark Knight's Metal, where it's like, oh, Joker has Robins, and that's the whole play. I hope that's not it. I'm excited to see what happens, because we've been teased Dick Grayson from issue 1 of this series, and I really like what he's been doing with Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
Nick Dragotta put out like a I don't even think it was a work in progress, but he did put out like a preview of a cover that he's doing, and it's got like, I think, a Scarecrow. There's a Batman. There's a Joker on top. There's a Court of Owls. There's a couple other things in there, and I think one of them might be a Robin.
On the bottom there?
No, it's in the top.
Well, you
right.
see the R on Joker.
Oh yeah.
So obviously teasing that one out.
What
do you think, John? Are you guys going to do like 15 covers for Absolute Robin?
I have 3 Absolute Batman 20 cover sets coming, and I've seen DC sent me stuff, and I cannot talk about it.
No, you've got an NDA.
Yeah, but I will say, I don't think this breaks anything by saying this. It looks really fucking cool, and I'm really excited to see where it goes after this. Wes, I've talked to you a little bit about that privately, but it looks really cool, and I'm not saying that to try to sell books. I mean, Absolute sells itself, but this looks pretty interesting. That image by Dragotta, I can talk about that because that's out in the public. The Joker has a Robin like symbol on his lapel. I'm guessing they're with him. I don't know that, but I have seen imagery from that book, so I could make a decision on what to do with the cover sets that we're doing. And it's looks fucking cool. Yeah.
And
also, get our
first say, I need to take this Batman guy down because he's like pissed off because he keeps putting so many people in the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I interrupted you there, Jill.
I was to say, we also, with that cover that Dragotta posted, get our first look at Absolute Deathstroke in costume.
Yeah.
We had seen Slade, but now we get to see
he looked like Dracula before.
Yeah. And now he's got like a giant bionic arm. It looks like it might have ammo attached to it also. So looks interesting.
Yeah, it does look like. I wonder if his arm like transforms into a gun, or it just is a gun, or this. Like that universe is so fucking wild. Also, in that image, did you guys see there's a Batman behind the Batman?
Yeah. Like a fear type Batman, which I'm assuming will be attached to Scarecrow.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's like a plane thing flying. There's Scarecrow. There's, I'm guessing that's the cover C, because the cover A has like a close up on Batman, and he has like the blades, and then reflected in the 2 blades is the Scarecrow. So yeah, I mean, or maybe that's 19, but either way, it's exciting. I do think it's going to be cool. It's just an interesting universe. Like, we've had this discussion before, Wes, privately. Like, I just really wonder what's going to happen with that universe. I wonder if that's going to collapse into like one universe at some point, and that'll be the main thing. I don't really know, but it is carrying DC. Everything else kind of blows. Outside of that, it's not too much. That's too exciting outside of Jeremy Adams stuff.
What is it? Doc always says the rule of cool is undefeated. I think that's what Scott Snyder is rolling with.
Yeah, of course, man. He's definitely brought that back to DC for sure. And that's what Marvel needs. Marvel needs a big creator to come back. We talked about that before. They got to hire a big motherfucker like Jeff Johns or somebody with some cachet to come in and just give them kind of creative control in a broad sense, and then put him over a line like Scott's directly over the absolute line. I think that's what they need to do.
Yeah, the guy that they could do it with, although I don't think they would trust him, I think would be Donny Cates. He's basically this generation's Scott. They're very, very similar. It's unfortunate what happened with Donny.
It is. I got to hang out with him at Terrificon a couple years ago for like a long time. And I was working with his then wife at the time a lot, Megan, on a lot of different covers. So we hung out. Jimmy Palmiotti was there. I got to meet all these cool people. I normally don't go to cons, but he was great. I mean, he gave me a lot of really cool insight as to what was coming on Venom. And he's such a nerd, and that's really his passion. He just has other things outside of comics that drag him away, unfortunately, behaviorally, and that just sucks.
Yeah. But if somebody could do it for Marvel, what Scott is doing for DC, he would probably be the guy.
Yeah. I agree 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
He takes big swings. I mean, Scott takes big swings. You can critique the way he lands certain narrative arcs, and you can certainly critique different story beats that Scott puts in there, but that fucking dude takes big home run swings. Like, he's swinging for the fences, and that's what you need in comics. Comics is big and brash and bold and ballsy, and that's what we need. That's a lot of bees, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. Sometimes you go too far and you get All-Star Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get absolute Batman. But you'll never get absolute Batman if you don't accidentally get the other one every once in a while.
Yep.
You go just a little too far. Although, Dylan, you think that absolute Batman and Robin is basically on par with absolute Batman with its craziness?
If you read All-Star Batman and Robin in the right mindset, it is an incredible comic book. But you have to be in the right mindset for that comic.
Like Pantera playing in the background?
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
Very nice, very nice. Should we start talking about some comic book recommendations this week? It's fun to talk about the Robin stuff. Definitely be looking out for Absolute Batman 20. Probably going to be a spec value hot key comic book there. All right, John, you got any books that you want to recommend or anything that people need to know about? Maybe a Whatnot stream or something that's coming up for sale on the website?
Well, we got a lot of really cool launches next week. We have Absolute Batman 19. It's a Scarecrow cover by an artist I've been wanting to work with for years. Well, maybe not years. That might be an exaggeration, but for a while. Fabrizio De Tommaso. That launches Monday. We're doing 4 different covers for that, 2 foils. We have Dork #1, 4th print. I never thought I would do a Dork comic. I am thrilled for Brett. I work with Brett on Lucky Devils #1, which is an Image book by Ryan Brown and Charles Soule. So I work with Brett on that. He did a cover set for us. And he also did a cover set on TMNT Naruto. And those covers didn't sell great because Brett has a specific style. And before Dork, it was hard to it was hard to sell that style, right? It's a very exaggerated comic booky, cartoonish type of style, which I really love. Mm-hmm. But and the interesting story with that too is sometimes I work with artists that get very famous later. I produced Mark Spears' very first 4 comic book covers in the industry, period. Wow. Mark approached me. He emailed me. I think that's how it went down. It was either that or I saw him on Instagram and cold contacted him, one of the two. And I started working with him, and he was just producing incredible stuff. And I couldn't give it away. I even cut prices. I slashed prices in half after a couple months. I couldn't give Mark Spears comics away. And I basically said, Mark, I love you, buddy, but I'm sorry. Like, I'm losing money on every single cover we do. And then like a year later, he just smashes it out of the park with Monsters. And now he's like a phenomenon. And so like, well, now I try to work with him now, and he just, he's so busy. There's so much that's coming with him I can't even get on his radar at this point. I'm like, hey, remember your buddy John? I gave you your first shot. Like, that would be me. So anyway, we have Dork #1, 4th print. That's going to go up on pre-sale Tuesday. Mirka Andolfo. I'm doing a lot of covers with Mirka. Very cool person to work with.
Love Mirka. Love Mirka's work.
Yeah, she's great, man. And then Nectar #1, 2nd printing. What a cool fucking book. I'm so happy Vault's doing really well with that. I love David at Vault. I love the team over there. So I have a Godtail cover set, a Tiago da Silva cover set, and then a Jeremy Robinson foil. We're doing a Baroness cover, Sully, on Thursday. G.I. Joe, Real American Hero 327 by Flops, one of my favorite artists. And then Alan Qua.
You're telling Sully, I'm out of the way, Sully.
Yeah. And then Friday, I took a chance on Fireborn #1 with Image. That's Alan Qua, one of the nicest guys in comics. He did a really nice Spider-Man #1 homage for me for that. That's on Friday. So everything's going to be on the website and social media. It's the.616 comics on Instagram if you want to follow us over there. If you send a DM, you're going to get me. I don't let anyone on the DMs except for me. So if you want to talk to me, that's the spot.
And when's the Whatnot show?
Pretty much every day, every night. We had a stream last night that we couldn't get going for some reason. There was a Whatnot glitch, but we're trying to get on eBay Live, but I'm being cock-blocked on eBay Live by people that don't appreciate my candor. Let me say it that way.
Damn you, Zuckerberg!
Yeah, I'm being blocked by certain things. I'll just say that.
Hopefully it all works out in the end. I do appreciate the time, dude. And very, very
I
cool
love
stuff.
being with you guys.
Insights.
Thanks, man.
All right, Tommy, you got any books that you would like to recommend this week?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Ordained. I'm really enjoying that. Dork, I'm loving what Brett Bean's doing. Dork 2 came out, which is a lot of fun. I am a big Tyler Kirkman fan, and his final boss is like reading a video game. Yeah. If that's even possible. It's just a lot of fun. And then I got some back issues recently. I got GI War issue #1, which is pretty cool. I've been trying to go back and get some of these old war comics, which I really love. Men of War issue #1. It's a lot of fun. And then Will Eisner's The Spirit issue #1 I was able to pick up. So, that's about it for this week.
Very cool, Tommy. You got any big interviews people need to be knowing about, or maybe one that just happened this past week?
Yeah. Well, I got quite a few, man. I got let's see here. I got Derek Kurt Kim and Jacob Perez. They have their new title Royals coming out with Image Comics. They're going to be on. I got Dexter Soy. I'm a big fan of his art. So he'll be on. Tony Fleece is coming back again to talk Next Level Deathstroke that he's writing. William Harms with the success around White Sky. He'll be on. We'll be talking about that. I got Peter Tomasi on talking Rockefellers and everything else that's going on with him over at Ghost Machine. We got Christopher Priest coming back. We got quite a few. John Timms, I'm a big fan of his art. He's coming on to talk Superman and Aquaman. Joe Casey's coming with the news around Terminal over at Skybound, which I'm really excited about. Awesome. Thomas Healy, who's the editor-in-chief over at Spawn. I have him on quite a bit. We talk a lot of Spawn because I'm a big Spawn guy. Ed Brisson, we're going to be talking Thunderhawks, which is the next title coming out with him. And then Maytal, we're going to be talking Sisterhood. The trade is coming out for Ghost Machine over there. Quite a few. And I'm working on some others as well.
Very, very cool, brother. Really appreciate it. Sully, you recommended any comic books this week?
Yeah, actually, I got to read Alias Red Band #1 this week, and I was kind of on the fence at the beginning of it, but once Typhoid Mary enters the story, I'm completely sold, and it ended up being pretty entertaining because I was a huge fan of Bendis's Alias 25 years ago back in the day, and I also checked out that that Spider-Man Meals to Astonish #1. I'm a professional chef. And so there's a culinary angle in there. And it was a stupid, lighthearted story by Steve Orlando, but I ended up kind of enjoying it. It was very endearing. And because
don't embarrass yourself, Sully.
I have the bad. I'm the prince of bad takes. I am the prince of bad takes once again. And but I got 4 floppies from my local comic book shop, as I do get every Wednesday. I picked up Absolute Batman number 18 strictly for the wonderful Eric Ganetti artwork. Story-wise, I'm kind of on the fence. There was a lot of emphasis on Martha and her history in Talons and the Court of Owls. And maybe that whole Robins thing, multiple Robins, will just be a natural thing to combat multiple Talons in this world. So you never know. Great visual storytelling by Eric Canetti. Worth the $4.99. Transformers number 30. I don't give up on this book. It's a story beat. You know that everything's going back the way it was, and pretty like probably in 6 issues or so. But don't give up on this. This is a good book. Please. G.I. Joe 326. We were all raving about this. What was that one amazing. What did Cranky do? It was Bloodrick. That was this sword and sorcery one. I loved that book, and I was wondering, that's where I know this artist. And this is the first cover without. This is the first time we're getting no Andy. Is it Andy Kubrick or
Adam?
I think it's Andy.
The Adam, Andy Kubrick's art. So I guess he's done doing covers, and what an amazing run at 25, issues. I love those Andy Kubrick covers. And but here comes next. What a great individual issue, nice and standalone.
My favorite issue of anything from Skybound Hasbro since they got the license, better than all these Transformers and GI Joe to me.
Good. This is such a Larry Hama G.I. Joe issue, with narrative captions explaining all the military jargon. And then there's just this huge body count, and then Joe's getting injured and keeping themselves alive. And you know what I mean? It's a survival tale. This was really good.
Roadblock's got a vehicle destruction gun he's using on people. He's like, ain't no one gonna report me in.
And Snake Eyes being a man of very little words and getting the job done. And it was that what a good G.I. Joe story. But I really liked Emperor Aquaman number 15. I'm really happy with Jeremy Adams as a DC superhero comic book writer. More, please. And maybe give the reins to him. I would love to see him do a Crisis story or, give him Justice League. I think that would be the best thing would be, let's give Jeremy Adams Justice League. Please. That would make us all happy. Wouldn't it?
I hope he's next for Batman, to be honest, Sully. I would love
that would be cool too. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, we throw him on everything, he's doing great. And thank you to everyone out there in TV land, and especially in the chat, the world's best chat in the world. Happy Saturday and happy St. Patrick's Day weekend too, from your friend Sully from Boston. It's St. Patrick's Day weekend here in Boston, Massachusetts. So you have a friend, Sully from South Boston, and the parade's this weekend. So I'm making boiled dinner tonight, corned beef and cabbage, and drinking Guinness.
LK8181 says, did no one read DCX AEW number 2? Of course, Aaron Sparrow read DCX AEW number 2.
Okay, if you guys follow wrestling, I definitely recommend you follow Pro Wrestling Times PWT with Phil Marks. Phil Marks, I think, does some of the best commentary in wrestling, and there is a chance that I will be going on with him, and we will be reviewing those books. So stay tuned.
So I was right.
Nice.
No lies detected.
We should be reading Aaron or no?
Well, I've not read them yet. So what we're planning on doing is he's going to put them up, and I'm going to review them live. Like, you're going to get my immediate reaction.
I got halfway through the first issue.
Oh, that's not good.
I love wrestling and I love comic books. You can do it the right way. It didn't. Yeah, we'll see how you like that one. What do you recommend this week, Sparrow? You recommended comic books or you recommended toys? Maybe a little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Obviously, I'm going to recommend G.I. Joe. With the rest of comic recommendations, I throw my recommendations to Dylan because Dylan and I have very similar tastes. It seems like we're always kind of liking the same stuff.
You're pointing at Sully. You're giving me mixed signals here.
Whatever Dylan says. How does this work? Whatever Dylan says.
I throw it to Sully. I'm going with Meals to Astonish.
Meals to Astonish. Yes. Ben Grimm's suggestions for eating in New York. Pretty good. That was fun.
So I am recommending some toys. I picked up Werewolf by Night. So pretty excited about this one. They finally did a good figure of that character. So, we haven't had one of these since the Monsters pack that Toy Biz did back in the day. So this is a really nice update for that. I'm recommending Warbow So this is a character from Crystar. They've been sneaking these characters, Crystar and Warbow, into the Marvel Legends line. I talked to a guy at Hasbro. He said if Warbow, each one justifies the next one. So Crystar sold well, so they did Warbow. If Warbow sells well, they'll do Moltar. So if you guys have any fondness for the old Crystar figures, jump in. I mean, they gave us a ROM recently in the Marvel Legends line. Let's get some of these old toy guys going. I'm definitely recommending the Storm Arena Ryu and Ken. These are absolutely fantastic. They are the Jada ones are really nice. Don't get me wrong. These are just a step above. Same basic price, but more accessories and a little bit more posability, and some nice alpha sculpts. So Jada has the license for the Super Street Fighter. They've got the alpha sculpt license, and then he's not complete yet because I'm still waiting on Phantom Rider and the six-armed black-suited Spider-Man. But yes, Scourge the Executioner Build-A-Figure. You can see he's missing his legs. So I still need to get those. But this is a figure I have wanted forever. I've never felt that the Masters of Evil are complete without him. So happy that we're finally getting him. So those are my recommendations this week. Also, I recommend that you go over to the Comic Mint, and if you would be so kind, pick up the homage variant of Kneel Before Doomface, the preview edition. That will be shipped out after MegaCon by the Comic Mint, and I just pasted in the chat a discount code for all of our comics aficionados.
Very, very cool. And Aaron, you will not be here next weekend.
I will not be here next weekend. I will be at MegaCon. I will be signing each and every one of these that goes out, signing and numbering them, and shaking hands and kissing babies or whatever it is that is asked of me at MegaCon.
Well, very, very cool. Dylan, you are last, my friend. Are you recommending anybody read comic books this week?
Yeah, there were a few good comics this week. Say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 16 was pretty good. Recommend that. Some great art there. Some cool stuff going on. Obviously, we already talked about to death, but A Real American Hero number 326 was incredible. It was great. Andrew Kranke on there is, it's so good. It's such an action-packed, fun issue. Emperor Aquaman number 15 was really good. Aquaman continues to be great, and we finally got Arthur back. And then Absolute Batman number 18. We get the end of this little 2-part Poison Ivy arc. That was pretty good.
So you're a TMNT fan, but you hadn't been reading TMNT till this week.
No, this was my first time reading this since was it Gene Yang or whatever his name is took over. Because I read a little bit of I felt like the first 2 issues of Jason Aaron's run.
Yeah, those were that one got much better over time. But I think Gene Yang's knocking out of the park, and you finally got to see the Yujigami.
Yeah, that was cool. That design is great. That was fun.
Yeah, that one was love that one. Yeah, I'll recommend Space Ghost, but I'll get to that one on Best of the Week. Do you have any videos or anything people need to be looking out for, Dylan?
Yeah, I'll have a video up later today talking about Matt Fraction's run, going all over Matt Fraction's Batman run and my thoughts on it so far, because we're 7 issues in, and it's been interesting.
It's been a little all over the place.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. But that last issue, Joker looks pretty weird.
Yeah, well, he's been.
Do you like fat back to tank Joker?
Yeah, he's been sitting in there, not been able to do nothing, so it makes sense.
So that will do it. I hope everyone's having a great weekend. Go support the USA as they play. Is it the Dominican Republic in the World Baseball Classic? What else we got? We got more free NFL free agency going on this weekend. We got a big AEW pay-per-view for Aaron to check out this weekend. So there's definitely lots of stuff out there. And definitely head over to the 616 Comics and check out all the new drops that are going to be coming out on Thursday, it sounds like. And we will see you all around.